Good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing fantastically well. This is Funkatopia Live. I am your host, Mr. Christopher. This is the pre-show, though, for those who have never tuned into the show before. I don't think there's a whole bunch of you, but I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to be coming in that have never seen the show before. We do a pre-show before 8 o'clock, between 7:45 and 8, just to kind of let you guys come in, get comfortable, get situated and whatnot, and so we can say all our hellos and everybody can get your drinks and whatever else. What is going on? Kat over in London, she has been on here, well, it says since 2:39. Thank you for waiting. That's long. That's a long time. How you doing, Kat? Kenny from Fort Lauderdale. Carrie, good evening. What's up? Val, Kiaria, what's going on? Purple Nerd Channel in the house, as always, from St. Louis. John Frost, big man on campus. Hey, Krista. Listen, not only is tonight going to be fun, because it's always fun when we have this gentleman on. Again, I want to remind everybody, this is a pre-show. Normally we're kind of, we kind of work our way up to the 8 o'clock hour, and then I start at 8 and we start the show and we kind of go right into it. But for those of you who are loyal enough to tune in to this pre-show, you guys are going to get a little bit extra tonight because Michael Bland is already in the green room, and we're going to go ahead and bring him in just a minute. But I wanted to tell you two things to get excited about tonight. Joni, hello. Arlene, hello. Man, this is amazing. I love having you guys on. I have a special announcement tonight for a show coming up, and Michael Bland has a exciting announcement for a show coming up. So just know we got two special announcements that both of which you guys are going to be crazy excited about. It's just going to be insane. It's going to be great. Andrew, what's going on? Tracy from North Carolina. Yeah, I have friends in North Myrtle Beach. Actually, my neighbor has a place over North Myrtle Beach, and they were showing me pictures of snow in North Myrtle Beach with snow on the beach, snow in all. It's crazy. And what I thought was crazy with the whole weather scenario that happened was this was the first time ever in the history of Houston, Texas, that they have a blizzard warning. Houston has never, ever had a blizzard warning ever in the history of, which is just crazy to me. So anyways, if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, it's because I'm playing a little bit of music in the background. I did that before, and it kind of had a nice little layer to it. That's still Stevie Wonder there. We're going to put that down a little bit. So we kind of have a little bit of a mix. Oh, and speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and bring Michael in, but I wanted to make another announcement too. I kind of went down a rabbit hole with Stevie Wonder. I went hard on Stevie Wonder over the past few days, and I created an insane 4-hour playlist on Spotify that you guys need to check out if you guys are, and it's just Stevie Wonder's albums from the 70s. But I mixed everything up, and I just picked the best tracks off of all of his albums from the 70s and just put them, in my opinion, and put them all in a really nice flow order. I mean, so it's not just throwing a bunch of songs in. It literally it's got a flow to it. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. If you want to check it out, just go to funkatopia.com/Stevie, just FUNKATOPIA.com/Stevie. And you'll be able to access that playlist and check it out. So tomorrow when you're working, you want some great music playing in the background, I've got a roller coaster of a Stevie journey for you on Spotify. You got to check it out. But listen, normally I would say, hey, it's not the 8 o'clock hour, but tonight we are going to go ahead and start early because he's become a very, very good friend to me over the years. And he is a really just celebrated drummer for both Soul Asylum and New Power Generation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in. The one and only Michael Bland is in the house.
All right, yeah, let's hit it, man. Yeah, let's crank it up, brother. Yeah.
So, I am curious. When was the last time we are kind of, now we get this music playing in the background? When was the last time? How often do you go vinyl shopping? Do you do vinyl shopping? Are you a vinyl guy?
I don't own a phonograph.
What? That's so you've come across to me as such an audiophile. It just surprises me that you don't.
You know what? I take immediacy over quality sometimes.
You mean like as far as not having to go over and flip the
Yeah, not just that, but it's just Spotify is so convenient. Like
Oh, yeah.
I'll just be on my laptop and all of a sudden I'll just hear a song in my head and I'll just, oh yeah, and I'm there.
It is kind of great. And their AI, their algorithm is pretty amazing, you know, as far as discovering new music based on what you've listened to. And it's got it, and it's not too bad. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty all right. I mean, I don't usually listen so long that the if the commercials start to bug me out, then I'll just disengage. But
So you have is there a commercial version of Spotify?
I have the free version.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have the
That's
paid version of Spotify. That's it. I don't.
Okay.
So they don't have any commercials in the mix. But anyways,
Yeah.
but we got people from all over the country. Sue from Southern California is in the house. Just everybody. I hope you guys, Sue. I hope you guys are doing well over there. I don't know what part of California you're in, but hopefully you're staying away from all those fires and all that madness over there, man. That's just a mess.
Mhm.
That's just a friggin' mess. It truly is. I know that you're not a vinyl person, but I went vinyl shopping this weekend, and not because this is obviously pretty intense, but let's just see if any of these albums make, hit any kind of memory bank or whatever. This one probably will. Morris Day's Oak Tree.
Oh wow, man. Okay.
It's actually the single, and it was actually in pretty decent shape. I was actually surprised on that one. Let's see if this one means anything to you. The Brothers Johnson. Look out for number one.
Oh, one of my sisters had that record when I was growing up.
Really? You told me, when you were on before, you told me about a bunch of bands that Prince had turned you on to. What are some of the bands that he really turned you on to that you didn't know before?
Well, it wasn't so much a matter of turning me on to bands, but it was like he'd do things like he'd start talking about a record, with the other guys, and I was the young dude in the band. So they were always talking about some music that I wasn't familiar with. They start talking about Graham Central Station one day at rehearsal, and Mika was like, "Man, my favorite part is this." He starts playing the guitar part from Hair, and I was like, "What's that?" And Levi's like, "You don't know what that is?" And Prince is like, "Oh, you got to stay after school." So after rehearsal, those dudes would go home or whatever, and I'd go to Studio A with Prince, and he'd call his housekeeper and ask her to bring over, he'd say what records. He'd describe the album art. She'd come over, and I'd sit in Studio A with Prince, and he would just spin records for me. He introduced me to Player of the Year, Bootsy. All the Graham Central Station records. I mean, up to the one with like Pow. Like I think Mirror was the last one that he.
I did pick up a Bootsy. I picked up Bootsy's Rubber Band. These boots are made for funkin'. This boot is made for funkin'.
Oh yeah. All right.
Well, it's in good shape. It's in good shape.
What else? Fresh by Sly and the Family Stone, because
that one back there.
Somebody brought up In Time, and I was like, "What's that?" Like, oh man, yeah. I was always on Punishment.
So, did you ever turn them on to any bands?
No, weirdly, I was just talking to somebody about the fact that Prince and I could talk about almost any music because we're two, Midwestern Negroes who, it's like FM album rock and things like that dominate the airwaves even here now. So
right.
We talk about, whatever, but we could always like just kind of discuss bands like the Pretenders or the Stones or the Beatles or any of that. I mean, Prince was very up. I mean, like he was always just listening, and so was I. Like we were always. I think we had that in common, just the sense of discovery.
Yeah.
Like just Fink told me he'd go to Prince's house back when they started, and there would be albums everywhere on the floor in his living room. Just laying
out on the floor, just spread out.
Yeah, he'd just be playing records all day. And really analyzing what he liked about them and trying to figure out how to incorporate those things into his own music, really.
I
Yeah.
can only imagine. Yeah. And I had to agree with Arlene. Just says that sounds like the best homework ever.
Yes, it was pretty awesome. I have to say that's my favorite time I got to spend with Prince, because it was not any sort of manner. It's like it was just two people talking about music, and really it was kind of a mentorship, you know. And he was so articulate and thorough. He like myself, I was always addicted to the liner notes. I was just, I wanted to know who did what. And so he had gotten into like the inner workings of like how Graham Central Station started, and how Neil Schon from Journey and Larry were playing with Betty Davis, like in between where Larry and Gregorico quit Sly and the Family Stone. Like there's all this information that people aren't necessarily familiar with, and he just kind of broke down like the career paths of these people and how much funk,
Yeah, and that's I mean, obviously this is Funkatopia,
Mhm.
and I kind of feel like there are so many things. I'm learning new things every single day. It's just always surprising to me. You find these connections that you weren't aware of previously, of like bands that kind of intermingle, just like you were talking about, and everything, all the history of Graham Central Station, all the history of Sly and the Family Stone. Having guests on, like Lynn Mabry and Dawn Silva and these girls from. Matter of fact, there's another album that I actually picked up, which I was actually.
Was that record called The Disco?
Yeah, Brides of Funkenstein, Never by. Well, yeah, that one too.
Something about something the cowboy disco. Something I can't remember the name of it. I knew
Never
that was the record.
From a Cowboy. Yeah,
I knew it. That's the record, man.
I had that on CD. I'd gotten it off of Discogs, but then I went to this vinyl shop and they actually had it, and it was in pristine condition. And but I'm like you. If I'm trying to discover new music, what I'm essentially wanting to do is really just kind of just absorb it a little and not spend the $10, $15, $20 on the album. Just I got to make sure that I like it first. I think that was an advantage that artists had back in those days, is because if you really wanted it, you had to kind of gamble as to what the rest of the album is going to sound like. You were like, oh, I know the hit on the radio, but these other songs.
Absolutely. I agree. It was always a gamble. I used to go to the local, well, I can't remember what the record store was called. It was just one of those standard kind of
like Sam Ash.
Yeah. It might have been like a Sam Goody or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just look around, and if I saw something that interested me, or like a kinship between, it's like, oh wow, I bet that's interesting. I'd like to hear what that sounds. I would go by the artwork sometimes, or if I recognize some of the personnel involved, And often I was like, ew, I don't like this, but sometimes I found really great records,
It's just, again, the way that they've kind of put everything together, it makes your life so much easier. Obviously, we know these guys. What time is it? I picked this up, and the reason why. Okay, here's the reason why I picked this up. I thought I had it. I'm pretty sure that I had it. I get back home, I already have 3 copies of it. But it is still sealed. It has never even been played.
I can tell.
That's ridiculous. I mean, not even Needle has never even touched this vinyl, which is insane. But anyways, it's cool stuff. I have to ask, and this is a question that it's going to be interesting to kind of hear your answer. We obviously have a lot of attention on the estate and what they're doing and some of the things that they're planning, and we don't even know what they're planning. I don't think that people realize, and I sent you this list too. I don't think people realize how many eventful album anniversaries happen in 2025. And you and I talked about this. The 40th anniversary of The Family. That happens in 2025. Where'd the other ones go? The 35th anniversary of Wendy and Lisa's Eroica.
Oh, wow.
There's that one. the 40th anniversary of Around the World in a Day, which obviously I also have here as well. Obviously, of course, why wouldn't you? The 35th anniversary of Graffiti Bridge.
Wow.
Here's one that's going to hit home. The 30th anniversary of this one, Exodus. The 30th anniversary of Exodus happens this year. How does that make you feel?
Older.
I bet.
Oh.
And it's because it's also the 30th anniversary of the Gold Experience too.
Wow, you got my life on blast, man.
I do. 35th anniversary of the Times Pandemonium. This is actually a clock. It was it was the Pandemonium album came inside of this. It was a promo item, and basically it had the CD and everything in it, but it's a desk clock. But it's pretty cool. And then of course, should I do this now, Michael?
You can do whatever you want.
I don't.
I'm
we talked about this.
I'm down for whatever, man.
I'm talking about my side. I don't. You don't need to do yours just yet. I want to be excited. I want people to be excited. All right, you guys ready for an announcement? Here's an announcement that's going to kind of. All right, here's another anniversary. Let me just start with this. It is the 40th anniversary of Jesse Johnson's Review.
Yes.
The 40th anniversary, the 2025 is the 40th anniversary of Jesse Johnson's Review. Now that's insane, but wait, it gets better. The day that it was released was February 11th. February 11th in 1985. February 11th this year happens to fall on a Tuesday. And so, as you know, on Tuesday nights, Funkatopia Live does Tuesday nights right here.
Oh boy.
So on Tuesday, yes.
Don't say it.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. You guys, I'm gonna say it. On Tuesday, February 11th, we will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of Jesse Johnson's Review, and Jesse Johnson will be here.
Man, you lying, man. You don't know no Jesse Johnson.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Jesse Johnson will be here Tuesday, February 11th, and we will be walking through Jesse Johnson's Review, the 40th anniversary, the 40th anniversary to the day.
Wow.
And we're going to be, I'm not going to put on the pink suit this time. That was funny last time, but yeah, so I called up Jesse. I said, it's 40th anniversary. It's happened on Tuesday. I'm going to do the special whether you're there or not. And he was like, I'm there. And I was like, cool. Okay. And then
all right. I mean, if you want your funk uncut, you go get it from Jesse. Jesse believes in speaking his entire truth. So that's going to be hot. Here's what I want you to ask him this for me, man.
Yeah.
I had heard that Jesse bribed Prince's cleaning woman to, like, while Prince was out on the Purple Rain tour, Jesse was recording his record in Prince's personal studio.
Okay.
That's the story I heard, was that Jesse recorded that record all on Prince's equipment, in Prince's home studio. And he was just bribing the cleaning woman to let him in. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the story that I got.
I know that he told the story. I think he told the story. He wasn't on Funkatopia. I think he told the story on Questlove's show about buying the board that I think he had recorded, that Prince had recorded in 1999, and he bought that board from him, and then he used it for something. But the cleaning lady story would be much more entertaining, so I will ask him that for sure. Yeah,
who knows? Who knows, man? But yeah, that's going to be incredible, man. Jesse's surprisingly. I don't know if it's surprising that he's so astute. I guess I just didn't really get to know him, and then Sonny and I did a trio gig with him. In like September or October of 2016, I think it was. It was like after Prince had passed, and
Was that
and
the
I
bunker?
thought, what's that?
Was that a bunker show?
No, that was at First Ave, main room.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of Band of Gypsies, a lot of Hendrix. I think we did some of like a medley of Jesse's, some of Jesse's hits. But yeah, that was the most time I really ever got to spend with Jesse. That was like 4 days of rehearsal. And man, he just played some of the most incredible guitar that I've ever heard, just every day, all day. And he was just like, I'm just trying to warm up, man. I'm just trying to get limber, man. I heard that for 3 days. And then we get to the gig and it's like he's blanking. I'm like, well, what are we supposed to be playing? I'm like, we've jammed for 72 hours, Jesse.
Oh,
Me and Sonny are looking at him. He's looking at us. We're on stage.
that's hilarious.
I'm like, let's play Power Soul. Oh yeah. Black Oak.
And he can jam out. I mean, he can play Hendrix note for note. I mean, he has talked about that. He is a Hendrix fanatic.
Not just that though. Jesse, I saw different sides of Jesse during those days. Like just Jesse has everything from, the funk and roll that everybody knows him for, but he's got a side of him that plays very traditional blues.
Yes.
Like finger picking, sort of like Leadbelly style,
Yep.
Like Jesse's a diverse cat, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were caught off guard when he released Bare My Naked Soul. I think because of the fact that they had just got done, kind of getting this trio of, for the most part, funk pop albums.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like this little bit of was it like 4 years or something like that? And then all of a sudden he drops this rock and roll blistering Bare My Naked Soul album. And everyone was like, what is it was like, he's always been a rock guitarist. I mean, he's always been that way.
Isn't he literally from like, what, isn't he from, where is he from? Illinois? He's from Rock City?
Yeah.
Rock City? Yeah. I mean,
so he is, I mean, I'm surprised that people were surprised. People were surprised.
I got you. I got you. But it's funny because the funk is so forward on those time records. And that's the other thing I want to know. I heard two different things. I heard that Prince played guitar on the time records, but not only that, I think I heard that starting on the second record, like, what time is it? Somebody told me that, because I was like, it sounds like Prince, but it don't. Like, that tone is different. And Prince didn't play with like a whammy bar really back in the day. And then somebody tells me Prince played the guitar. He played Jesse's rig on the time records. Like, okay, it doesn't sound like Prince's tone because it wasn't. But the information is the harmonic information that he's playing is hard to say though, man. They play so similar, but I saw somebody said Prince said Jesse was a better guitar player than him. I believe it. I believe Prince would have copped to that. Jesse's a natural, man. He just, when you watch, what hand would it be for Jesse? His right hand. He's so relaxed with his pick technique. Like a lot of cats got to go at it from the elbow or from the wrist. Jesse's he's so relaxed and just in the cut. And his wrist is just moving enough to keep it moving, man. Yep. All the funkiest guitar players to me play like that. Blackbird McKnight kind of played like that. Like if you watch his hand, his picking hand, there's no tension going on. It's like he's just riding the funk. Prince was a little more aggressive with his funk. He was more like Tony Maiden or somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And there's only been one interview that I've seen with Jesse Johnson where he was not holding his guitar. Like it's very rare that he puts it down. It's really, even when he's doing TV interviews, although when he was doing TV interviews at the time, I think it was Pandemonium, and the whole band standing there, and there's Jesse with this guitar, holding this guitar.
Is he like
just sprinkling around? I think
noodling? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's just noodling around and whatever else. It's like even on the I'm trying to think with those shows, the name of that guy that yeah, I mean he just always had his guitar. He just always
you know what? A lot of the greats were like that though. They said Jimi Hendrix wouldn't even take his guitar off to go to use the bathroom. He just swing that thing around on his back, and and lift the lid. He had his guitar on his body all day. Johnny Lang actually was like that.
Yeah,
like he really out as his dad was a farmer. It was like him, like a Telecaster and a bunch of Albert Collins records.
Yeah,
but that's still a lot of people could have had those conditions and still not come out such a great guitar player and such a great singer. But yeah, that is an anomaly. I don't understand what happened to Johnny Lang. It's like there's a spirit in him that comes out when he starts playing. Like his eyes roll back in his head and he looks like he's possessed. That boy was made to play guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the guy that we just got said? Taj. If you remember Taj from when he was performing at the last celebration, what's Taj's last name? Young kid, like 15, 16 years old.
I'm not sure if I'm hip.
These are one of these guys, somebody in that, I'm just having a senior moment. It's Taj is his name. He played guitar at the last celebration, but he's one of these guys that, he's one of these kids, and I think he's only like 17 or 18 right now, but he's one of these guys that does not even watching his guitar. You can just see someone who's just become one with the guitar. Like he just goes into this total zone.
Yeah.
Taj Farrant. Thank you. Farrant.
I never heard of.
Yeah. It's a tough name to remember. But look it up because this guy's a monster.
Okay. Yeah, man, I'm thinking about it now. It's like, yeah, all the baddest dudes, their wrist so relaxed. It's like they're not even. It's Sonny too. Sonny's got that kind of it's confident, but he's relaxed. It's a different kind of feel, man.
Yeah, it's just becoming one with the instrument. It's just really just the music's just kind of flowing through you and just through the instrument.
Yeah, I can always tell when it's a cat's really like a natural. It's just something in the feel. It's just effortless and just kind of flowing.
What are some drummers like that to you?
Wow.
Because I've seen some drummers like you see some of these guys like Bernard Purdy and stuff like that who are just kind of they're just in that motion. It's just kind of become one. What's his name from Dave Matthews Band?
Carter Beauford.
Carter Beauford.
Yeah, I don't know if I sense that. I'm having a deja vu right at this moment because while I like what he plays, I actually had this conversation with Randy Jackson. I was in his office when he was A&R at Columbia, and we talked for about 10 minutes about how Carter Beauford basically ripped off everything he played from Billy Cobham.
Somebody just mentioned Billy Cobham, Steve.
Okay, well, synchronicity. All right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like he gets the technical aspect of it, but the further reaching concept. Billy Cobham is he's a genius, man.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And it's easy to dissect what he's playing, but if you don't understand where he's coming from, you don't really know what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like speaking a language that you don't necessarily understand. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily use what you know the way that it was meant to be used.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to take you off of that question. Is there a drummer that you kind of feel just has that effortless, just kind of, they just become one with a
living
or dead, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's so many impressive drummers these days. Everybody's got their own lane, really. I mean, it'd be easy if you just talking about like the fish that are in the barrel to shoot. Steve Jordan's incredible, man.
Yeah.
He's the one that told me tension is the enemy. You got to keep the tension out of your body. You've got to relax. Otherwise, it's a very
I see guys like Steve, like Buddy Rich, and it's like you watch videos and they're playing amazing, but it just like you're saying, it just watching them, just watching their body movements, just seems like I know it's not, it's probably effortless for them, and it's just motions of their body, but it just feels like very, it just feels a certain kind of staccato way where, just like you're saying, where you have that tension and.
Yeah, he didn't have the same kind of flow as some other cats like Philly Joe Jones, or like there's a lot of great jazz drummers. I mean, Tony Williams, man, Elvin Jones, Jack DeJohnette. Oh man, I mean, there's so many drummers from so many different parts of the musical universe. There's a guy named Dave Maddox who used to be in a band called Fairport Convention, like an English band. And he played drums on a record called None Such by XTC. And he sounds incredible. I met him at the NAMM show one year.
XTC, the band?
Yes. Also, 100% incredible. They're the most underrated band, I think, maybe in the world.
Okay. So since we're going off that, because I very, very rarely find other XTC fans. I love Andy Partridge and the whole, all of them are just incredible musicians. Favorite XTC album?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Well, the one that used to put me to bed and wake me up in the morning was English Settlement.
Really?
Double album. I'd play it. I had like one of those auto reverse cassette decks, and I'd put it in and I'd go to sleep and wake up and just would still be going. I did that with a lot of records. Bitches Brew, I did that with. But yes, English Settlement is my favorite, but also the one I'm most familiar with. However, I just went on a complete tirade about Oranges and Lemons with my friend John Fields.
Oh, great album.
Who knows, he really is like, together we talk about music like two 12-year-old nerds. Like what, just what excites us,
Yeah.
So we went on a whole thing, and he was just like, dude, you got to get Black Sea. You got to listen to his Murmur is awesome. You got to I'm like, dude, there's so much music going on those records that I have to take time to digest. I had Drums and Wires too when I was a kid.
Oh, that's the one they do the remake of All Along the Watchtower.
Is it? Oh, it might be.
That's the album before that. It's the album before that. It's they do this punk version of All.
All right. No, this is the one with like Making Plans for Nigel. Yeah. Yes, Making Plans for Nigel. Complicated Game, which is incredible.
The drumming. I know you have to like that song because the drumming on that stutter. Have you heard Big Express? Big Express.
Wake up.
Yes. The train running low on Soul Coal gets me every freaking time. That album.
Listen, we're boring our entire audience right now.
Doesn't matter. We're okay.
Have me back, and we'll talk about XTC, dude. Actually, we should have my friend John Fields on with. We could geek out for at least a couple hours on those things, man.
Such a good. And I was late to the XTC. Well, not late. I came discovered XTC on Skylarking. When they were playing Dear God on MTV, Dear God, sorry to disturb you, but and the whole video of him chopping down the tree and people, it was just such a weird video, and I was just like, and the message, obviously being raised up in 80s Christian household, and to have this song that was like, what are you saying, dude? And it was just shock value, and then I just kind of whatever. It's just great band. So our message, Michael and I's message to you is go check out an XTC album. Great band, great freaking band.
Absolutely. I mean, if they want like the pop, I'd say Skylarking is a good bet. I mean, they just sound like they picked up where the Beatles left off, and even further. Like and I'll close with this. Just listen to the bass on Mayor of Simpleton.
That thing is running so fast.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this. Me and John talked about this. Like, yeah, McCartney probably could do it, but would he actually like come up with something like that?
And there's
You
nothing
know?
simple about that song. The Mayor of Simple Team, there's nothing simple about that song. It sounds simple, but there's so much going on.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just,
what a shame, man. XTC, I hear they don't even speak to each other anymore. Like
what? No, I didn't know that.
they never made, any kind of real money in this business, and I guess the music is all they really had to bring them together. I guess they weren't necessarily the most friendly group of guys. I hear that Flea and Chad Smith, like they don't hang out. They don't like go to brunch. They don't like kick it. Like he's the drummer in Chili Peppers. Flea is the bass player in Chili Peppers. And they come on stage, they give up the funk, and then that's it. They don't really hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some situations are strange to me,
It's a shame. It really is a shame. All right. Let's go. I mean, we're far away from the original thing
Okay.
that I'm talking
Yeah.
to you about, which
Let
was
me dap up Steve 858 though, because he's on point.
okay.
Yes, Steve 858. I've been looking at what you've been saying. Yes, you are a musicologist, sir. Yet I bet they study Billy Cobham's playing still at Berkeley. That's what I'm saying. He's not dead. Billy Cobham's around, but they're still studying, his technique and his approach. Like,
Yeah.
And yes, Sheila E. played percussion with Billy, so she learned a lot. A lot of her drumming is influenced by him.
Yeah. It's amazing the musical history that Sheila E. has before anybody really knew who she was. With Prince obviously put her way into the spotlight, but she had such an amazing career before that, just as a supporting artist.
Yeah, also because then she played with Marvin Gaye.
Yep.
Lionel
Richie.
Yeah, right on. She was from a famous family. I mean, it certainly Prince brought something out of her that people didn't know she could do. But I mean, her talent has never been questionable.
I still believe, and people can tell me otherwise. I don't really care. Even if you tell me that you were standing in the studio, I'm still not going to believe you. But the song 7 on Madhouse is Madhouse 8. The song 7 sounds exactly like Sheila E.'s drumming. It does not sound like anything that Prince has ever played before. I'm not saying that he couldn't play it. It's just there's a certain style to it, especially in the solo part that is got Sheila written all over it. But obviously everybody says it was only Prince. It was only Prince. It's like every time I hear it, I can't unhear Sheila's
Here's why
the jump.
Here's why I disagree, because everybody knows like the bootlegged version of A Large Room with No Light.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's Sheila playing. Like Sheila's approach is kind of a little more panoramic to me. Prince had that in him a little bit, but it's in the tight spots where it sounds like for instance, if you listen to Madhouse 7 and you listen to Prince's drum solo from the live version of America, there's a similarity in the timbre in like it's all in like the size of the stick. It's all in like the action with like where the kick drums are involved. Where the kick drum is involved, it's Prince was a little more authoritative when it came to like his limbs drumming, like his legs. I'm sorry, not limbs, but he was like he had a heavier pocket. Sheila played more like a percussionist. She played very up here.
Steve 858, the musicologist, says that he believes it is Sheila playing 7 and on 15 also.
Really?
Because you can tell it's Sheila from the snare tuning. I almost feel like I need to look. It's just we need all need to listen together or something, just to that one, especially the solo part. It's just weird. I mean, and again, there's no proof that anything is right, but it's just got that. It's just got that.
He's certainly building a case, and it's not like she didn't play on. I know she played on some of the stuff on Madhouse 16. Yeah, I don't know. It's anybody's guess. I wasn't there. What I understood from talking to Eric Leeds was that Prince called him up and was like, "Hey, you want to play some jazz?" And pretty much he just kind of went to Prince's house, and all the tracks were kind of there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how
Second record.
Eric, remember,
it sounds like they moved to a different studio.
Yeah, they did. I'll share the one little part. I went ahead and forwarded it. I don't know if anybody could actually hear. Also share audio tab. Yeah, hopefully we won't get dinged for this, but who cares? Here we go. You hear that?
Yep.
Right here.
That sounds like Prince to me, especially right there.
I'll have it actually. This part here. That sounds like Prince.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
Yeah, I mean, see, it's who knows.
It's cool. I mean, I had the same situation going on with Get Off. I honestly can't tell you whether that was me or Prince, because around that time, Levi and Prince would have me come in and play like 8 bars or something. Okay, we got it. And I'd leave. This is like in the age of, they were just like sampling me and putting me in tracks that already existed. So, it's I couldn't tell you. It's either me or it's Prince on Get Off.
That's crazy. You wouldn't know the difference between the two of them.
Levi has the same identity crisis. He's like, I don't remember playing that, but that sounds like me. Like, that's what it is that Prince sort of absorbs the traits of the musicians around him to the point where he's like, I like that, to the point where he can mimic it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I'm not disputing what Steve 858 says, but Prince absorbed the characteristics of the musicians around him.
Yeah. I mean, and he would also overwrite things that people had done too. So that also made it a little bit more difficult too, because there's been plenty of times where he'll redo a part because maybe they didn't do it exactly how he wanted it, but you're just so close.
Right. And now Steve 858 at 7:30 said, oops, Prince played 7. I was thinking about 9.
Yeah, but there again, Sheila has been injected herself into a lot of different Madhouse tracks. And again,
that's fair.
It's what it is. But and
it was mostly to me, it sounds like it became more like a rhythm section thing and less a Prince thing on the second record on Madhouse 16.
Yeah,
like it felt like maybe Levi's playing bass on some of that. Sheila's definitely drumming on like I guess 9,
10 and 11:50. Yeah, it says and Gustavo, Prince Vault is fantastic. I mean, that is like it's got such an amazing wealth of information, but they also have omitted a lot of things. And a lot of things, some of the things actually we're talking about are, I mean, Prince Vault puts it up just like the album would actually have it. But we know that there's a lot more, a lot more artists that are involved and a lot more things that happen that are not credited.
Listen, man. Yes, I remember, was it you and I talking about how like some credits on the 1999 record are just JJ, and it's like, is that Jill Jones or Jesse Johnson? And then I find out the wah wah guitar on 1999 is Jesse. Sometimes I'll just listen to him. He's like pan to the right, and I'll just listen to Jesse. Man, he's so funky on that track.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It was funny about that you bring that up, because when I had Jill Jones on the show, she said, "Oh, I was so glad to be in the credits," and then I realized it was Jesse Johnson. And then and then I had Jesse on the show, and Jesse said, "No, it wasn't me. It was Jill Jones."
Yeah. Well,
all right. This is Prince at his best.
Yeah. If I was Prince, I wouldn't credit any other hard legs. Give the woman the credit.
There you go. There you
go. I don't really mean that.
It's a 30th anniversary of this. How does I know we talked about Exodus 2, but I would really, in honor of Sonny, I'll wait till we have Sonny in the wings before we talk about Exodus, but I do want to talk about the Gold
Okay.
Experience.
Sonny knows more about Exodus because a lot of those sessions were just
Right.
him and Prince. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Okay. What do you want to know about that? What I can tell you what you need to know about the Gold Experience because that's.
Man. Yeah, I mean, looking back on this album, it was just. I think it was the album that I think a lot of Prince fans were waiting for. I think he had that period that where it was kind of, experimenting and doing a lot of his own things. And then this kind of dropped. And then it was like, okay, this is good. This is good. It was just very, very different. You could definitely, it was a very pivotal direction move for him. What was it like? Billy Jack Bitch. Let's talk about that one first.
All right.
Did you know what the song was about when you were playing it, or was it just an instrumental when you guys created it and it was added later?
I just thought it was like one of the Prince has been listening to P-Funk lately. That's it. I was like, well, this is kind of like One Nation, sort of, but
little Bernie Worrell action there.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of kinky. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, well, let's play with it. Why not? Yeah.
So you didn't know any of the history of him, calling out that reporter or anything. It was just like a little funky thing of saying. All right, let's go through it and see if I'm trying to remember. I know you were involved in Billy Jack Bitch, but on the song P Control, first reaction when you heard that song.
Well, the first thing. Well, first I was like. Like, what is that? And then I realized that there was a loop of me and Sonny at the center of the group. Like Prince just kind of, took us and threw us in there.
He just kind of dropped you in. I was going to go ahead and play some Gold Experience in the background while we're talking about it.
Okay. Yeah. There's that groove is predicated on, that's a thing that Prince used that was me and Sonny. We were just jamming. And he got inspired. Same thing happened on 3121. Same thing happened on Rip-Pop Go to Zipper. Same thing happened on Papa. Like often he would just walk in, we'd just be jamming. What's that? What's it? What key we in? What's this? And you just helped Prince write another song.
Oh man. I guess so. I mean, you're kind of, you're on company time, right?
You're on company time. You're under complete surveillance. They let you know that your ideas are not your own when you walk into this building, more or less.
Man, that's it's still, as an artist, it kind of does make me feel some kind of way. I guess it would for you too. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Are you getting points on some of these songs?
Am I what? Sorry?
You getting points on some of these songs at least for coming up with the ideas?
No, man. No, bro. We knew not to ask.
Wishful thinking.
Let me tell you something. The first version of Solo, which may get released at some point, who knows? The first version, there was a version of Solo that kind of had this sort of it was a feel like "There Goes My Hero" by Foo Fighters. I was like, like Prince was kind of going through a trio. Well, yes, it was the trio. The power trio was what happened between on Christmas Vacation during late '93. Yeah, and that's how Sonny and we ended up going out there. We shot The Undertaker. Like every day of Christmas Vacation, we were at Paisley, more or less. I mean, Prince wasn't too fond of holidays, and he had a sordid sort of relationship with his family, I think, always. So it wasn't like he was going to visit relatives. He was just going to be him and probably a companion of some sort. But a young lady.
Well, but, we always kind of talk about the days and this happened. We do a lot of Princestory, especially on the Facebook page. What happened this day, whatever. Yeah. But what's interesting is that from December 18th, December 20th, somewhere in that realm, all the way up until just recently, like the second week in January, there wasn't a lot of releases. There was maybe some recording going on, but there really wasn't much released or anything really happening in the Prince world in that window. And I think that, just like you said, it's probably because of that. It's like the holidays. It's like you can't get everybody to always cater to his whims of practicing on Christmas Eve. I mean, I guess he could, but it was a hard sell.
Yeah, no, he had explained before Morris and Tommy, they both went out of town. Like Tommy, I think, went to New York, and maybe Morris went to visit his people in Arkansas. So Sonny and I that was when the band was just that big. So Prince said, he's like, I can eat Christmas cookies and direct this band at the same time. If y'all, if you want to, like reject, or if you want to reject your paid leave, we can keep this party going. But no, Prince, nope, we'll take the vacation.
Oh my God.
Right, and, he rolled out. But about 3 or 4 days into it, he started calling around. He's like, "You bored?" He's like, "I'm bored. Are you bored?" Like, "I'm not doing much of anything, man. Really? Like, what's on your mind?" He's like, "Can you call Sonny? Can you guys come out to the studio? We can just jam." I'm like, "Yeah, man. Why not?" So that's how the whole Power Trio thing really started.
Yeah, that was amazing, though. Amazing.
We almost played at House of Blues on Sunset as a trio. Like, we flew to SIR. We didn't tell anybody. Sonny and I were basically sworn to secrecy, and like, we flew out. Prince had very minimal security with him. We flew to Los Angeles. We rehearsed the night before the show was supposed to be at SIR. Paris Patton was with us. Maite was with us, and the only artifact from that trip is the video for Peach, which was shot on location at SIR.
Wow.
We got the next morning came, and Prince called and said, "Nah, I don't want to do it. Let's just go back." So we flew home.
Yes. It's kind of funny. Like, some of these, I can't remember, who was I talking to? I was talking to Gilbert Davidson, and he told me a story about them going to, I guess they wanted to stay home, but they didn't want to go to Hawaii, and they were on some plane or something, and they were still sitting on the tarmac, and Prince looks over at Gilbert and says, "Do you even want to go to Hawaii? I mean, just want to stay home?" And Gilbert was like, "Yeah, kind of." And literally they all got off the plane and they just bailed.
Yeah.
I guess you got to have moments like that where you got to take a break for yourself, I guess.
Well, not only that, sometimes you just got to trust your gut and just, like, even if it seems odd to somebody else, you got to do what makes sense to you, Okay. Can I answer some of these questions over in the margin? Because
I'm actually starring them, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them over.
Do you want me to go? I can go at your pace if you want.
No, go ahead. Which ones do you want?
I just want to do a quick round right here. Let me just go back. Let's see. Where was I last looking?
Was this P-Funk meme one?
That
was a weird one.
Didn't You Cut song with? I wasn't on that track, but he did have it, and I might have heard it in his office. And I think at that point, I really felt like, wow, I got to reconsider whether or not I can stay here.
Why? I don't think I've heard that song. I don't think.
Well, there's a good reason for that.
I mean, the topic is obvious. It's obvious where he's going to go with that one.
At some point, it was like, I don't want to. This is the internet. Everything lives on in infamy. So I can't really. You and I, when we talk on the phone or whatever, I'll give you the proper details. But he started to write. I mean, P Control was the beginning of a string of songs that were very explicit about that particular, about the female genitalia. And I kept thinking to myself, why is he caught in this loop? Like, how some bona fide geniuses in music, they have motifs that keep coming around. Like, you know, like with Parliament Funkadelic, it's like how many songs, you know, are how do I explain exactly? It's like where they it's like P Funk, Uncut, The Bomb, you know,
Right.
all that is good is nasty. Like they had certain catchphrases and motifs like are just ever present. Like with Sly, it's like it very much had to do with like how do I explain exactly? Like where you hear ideas that are predicated on ideas, like where it's like he's repeating himself a little bit. Like Sly kept writing songs that had the word higher in the title, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I felt like. Whoa, Prince, you're hatched out, man. You're stuck. You keep writing songs about, you know, female genitalia, but it's like the world is going crazy right now. Why is this your topic? I felt that way, you know, even later on. Like, why wasn't Prince more? He got there. He got there with like what's the song? The song that made everybody upset. It was about, was it about Seattle? It was about no, it wasn't Seattle. It was
You're talking about Baltimore, or are you talking about?
Baltimore. Yes.
Okay.
He got to his righteous anger period eventually. But
Yes.
at that time, I was like, this is not speaking to me. I also grew up in a religious household. I've been sold out for Jesus Christ my whole life, Chris Horton. And I don't mean to take it over there. But
no,
let's clarify. Like,
same.
Levi too. Levi came up in the church. A lot of us did. And so working for Prince was a bit of a challenge sometimes because he was a button pusher. And he thought that no topic was, you know, too explicit to discuss. Like he really was an open channel. Yeah. And I think that's the reason why I kept my distance from him more often than not. Because that is not my nature. Like my nature is to I guess I'm more like a what do they call those people? Like a risk assessment, the risk manager. I mean,
yeah, okay, yeah, I don't.
You know what I mean? It's like I calculate everything before I do it, and I think part of that part of me, I think, drives my wife crazy a little bit because I am. Not, it means I'm not expedient. I like to not ponder, but I need to really meditate on the decisions that I make. You know, I go through all the permutations. I'm a thoughtful person. I'm a serious person, actually. Mostly about music, but certain things are just my code, my way, you know? And that's just how it is. Yeah. And I think Prince was he was getting reckless to me. By the time he got to Good Dick and a Job, I'm like, there's no justification for such silliness.
Especially at the
You're
age
a grown man. What are you?
Yeah, he was 30. I don't know, he's 30 something.
Yeah, it started to offend me. I mean, I'll tell you about a moment I had. We were playing P Control at Wembley Arena, and I looked like the lights kind of fanned out, and I saw all these parents with their kids, like, you know, within the first 5-6 rows, and I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit talking to me, God, or whatever, but an inner voice was like, is this really what you're supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be contributing to this, you know? Yeah. So I told people often when Prince fired me, it's like he kind of did me a favor, you know, because he gave me a chance to get away and get perspective and figure out how to fish, you know, for myself, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but that's happened all throughout Prince's career. I mean, it started with, you know, Des Dickerson.
I suppose. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, because Des had the same issue with him before, because Des was also from a Christian background, and they were doing a lot of stuff that really kind of pushed against his religious boundaries. And
I suppose you're making out with a white woman on stage like that. It was just he might have had some ideas about that. She might have had some ideas about that. I've never met Gail. A couple of people have tried to trying to put us in contact, but I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who just kind of step away from it. Happened. Apollonia, it happened to her too. It's like all these.
Really?
Yeah, there was a period of time where Apollonia stepped away, and she got really heavily involved in her church.
I know
She was,
Vanity did. Would you
uh,
say in Apollonia too?
I believe, was yeah. Well, I
Okay.
know Vanity did too, but I thought that Apollonia did it too. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. I'm
Could be.
mentioning.
I actually don't know. I knew, but people are messed up, man. Because the first thing I heard my friends saying like, I'll tell you what it is. That church is using Vanity as bait to get the brothers in there. Like, why can't she just be sold out for Christ? Why you got to mess it up, man?
That was
That's on them if they're coming to check her out. She was fine till they put her in the casket.
that was another one of the albums I bought.
Oh, does that have Pretty Mess on it?
It does. Flipping Out, Pretty Mess, Samuel,
All right.
Wild Animal, Mechanical Emotion. Yeah, I saw this and it was like $5 and it was in fantastic condition. I was like, all right, we're getting that one too, I guess.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Like
But I don't mean to wax on about it.
no.
But that is an interesting thing. I hadn't thought about that. Some of us had real inner conflict,
Yeah.
But I think it's par for the course. It's, if you're going to work with someone who is has no, like, if you can't limit him, Prince couldn't be reduced to something else. You know what I mean? Like he was so certain of his path, and he had done all the work, and he had been successful,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like it was really a matter of like, like I really had to just sort of answer for what was going on inside. I'm not necessarily blaming him. I'm just saying I got to the point where I was disenchanted, and I think I think really it was time. By the time he fired the last remnants of the original New Power generation, it was probably the right call.
I would say that I would say I'm very, very similar to you now that you say that, as far as the reasoning for me kind of, moving away from Prince a little bit I loved 90s Prince. I loved the style of music. I loved everything, but some of the things, just like you were saying, where it just kind of hit the edge a lot. Were you taken aback like I was when Rainbow Children came out? Because I feel that was like a juxtaposition.
You know what? I don't know if I ever heard that entire record,
Oof.
but I'll tell you, and I think I rebuffed it for a while because the artwork, the drummer in the shot looks like me with dreads, and I had a shirt that had a bullseye on it. Like I'm like, that's me with dreads. Like, why are you?
Let's see.
Well, take a look, and you let me know if that looks like Michael Bland to you.
And you're probably right. I mean, obviously he didn't do the drawing, but what the hell is it?
Yeah.
It is. I think it's it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh yeah, hold it up. Who was? Yeah. I mean, I literally had a bullseye shirt. It was my idea. I went to wardrobe and said, "Hey, can you make me like a long shirt, but I want like a bullseye, like I'm a target."
I can see that.
You see that? That's basically me with dreads, like more hair than I ever had in my life. So, yeah, that's about. And then I saw, I was in Italy with Mike Scott, Barbarella, and Sonny. We were working for an Italian artist named Georgia, and we were in Milan, and we had played a show with her, and then we found out that Prince was playing a show later on that night. So we went to see him, and he was playing like, is it 1 + 1 something + 1 = 3?
1 + 1 = 3. Yeah.
He was playing the Everlasting Now, which was way funkier live.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, absolutely.
Live, that was so
Great.
nasty. Yeah.
One Night Alone tour just
Mhm.
is right up there in the top 3 concerts I've ever seen from him. Just
Sure. No, it's. I mean, he just kept going, man. It's it's yeah. I don't know what to say. It's just. I mean, it's like I said. I knew what I was in for on the way in to that camp because I was familiar with Prince's work, but I can't say I was like a sold out fan. You know what I mean? Like those videos from Dirty Mind and Controversy and all that, like that stuff came on like after midnight on like a local
Right.
station. And if my parents happened to be up and that stuff came on, like I definitely was like ashamed. You know, like
Yeah.
like
That's a
this little
question.
dude's dancing around with panties and you know, and leg warmers and you know, and I just wouldn't look at them. I would just be in the front room with my parents and they
Yeah.
who is that? Oh, that's
Yeah.
that Prince.
I think we all went through it. We all went through that, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 72s, but especially in the 80s. If you had albums that were a little bit more risque, you knew when to
You
play
let your
them.
parents see them, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, hide them and whatever.
That
Yeah,
poster, the Controversy poster where he's in the shower with the crucifix. I'm like, like this dude is on some different energy, man. You know, like I really felt like it's like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, and yes, I mean, I think let's not, you know, pretend it's not. There was a lot of dark energy going on, you know.
All right, I got all these questions that are piling up.
Okay, well, you do yours, and then I'll go back and I'll get the ones. If you don't get the ones I want to answer, then we'll address those after.
I've kind of been starring the questions that have been coming up. Let's start with
let's have it. We got to get on this, man. It's almost been an
sorry.
hour already.
What led to the cancellation of Prince's performance on the 1995 season opener of Saturday Night Live?
I'm not sure what he decided internally, but what we were told was he wasn't feeling it. We were on the soundstage rehearsing, and he said, you know, I don't think I'm not, you know, in the best mood lately. I'm fighting with my record label. You know, I feel kind of, you know, like, you know, I'm being, like I said, like I'm being compressed or limited or, you know, controlled, you know, by the situation. And I don't want to do it. And
Wow.
yeah, of course, it's like if Prince don't want to do it, then it's not going to be done.
Right.
So, you know, but the thing that struck me interesting was the next day. I think this might actually be where things started to maybe come apart at the seams for real. Like it was becoming clear that he needed a different group of people around him because we were starting to rebel a little bit and get a little, not flippant, but we just kind of were like, hey, man, you know, it's like, I understand what this situation means to you. And like his war with Warner Brothers, and it affected us all on some level, but really those were his choices. And I remember his assistant, Therese came down to rehearsal and she asked us, she said, Prince wanted me to ask you guys if you would, if it would be all right if we included your names on, you know, the statement that he wants to make about canceling, you know, Saturday Night Live. And I said, you know, I don't know how linked I want to be to this ordeal in that respect. Like, because neither the damage or the payoff were going to directly affect me. You know what I mean? Like it was Prince's battle to fight, and we were just kind of the infantry. You know, we were kind of the, you know, the small, you know, the coup that, you know, he used to free himself from all that. But we none of us felt comfortable doing that. That was like, dude, I don't because this is also at the time when Warner Brothers was posting ads in Billboard when that whole fight was going on.
And you never knew what Prince was going to say. It could be like,
exactly. So I'm like, I don't,
right,
man,
yeah.
I'm like, hey, Prince, you different. I don't know if I can let you speak for me, man.
Different.
Prince is different.
Yeah.
I'll say this. We used to have prayer meeting before every show, right?
Right.
And this is actually a sequitur, not a non sequitur, but a sequitur.
Okay.
We would pray. I mean, even as far as back as the first New Power generation, I'm sure they probably did that in all the bands. They have a prayer meeting before the show. And, you know, sometimes Prince would lead but usually it's rotated or whoever he'd pick somebody and they didn't have to, you could pass it to somebody else. And a lot of the time Sonny did it. in those days. I think Rosie might have done it a few times.
I have to ask though. I have to ask, and I hate to interrupt you, but when Prince was praying, was there anything that he did in his prayer that was maybe a little bit off kilter to the way that you guys pray? I'm just curious. I have to ask.
I'm gonna answer your question like this.
Okay.
One day, we broke the circle up, and Levi stayed behind because I was just standing there, and Levi said, "What do you do when Prince is leading the prayer meeting? Like what do you do like internally? Like how do you process that?"
You're like on guard.
I said, "Listen, I'll tell you right now, I ignore everything Prince is saying and I focus on the light." He was like, "Me too. I think that."
Okay.
He said, and Levi said, I might be paraphrasing or I might be slightly off, but he said something to the effect like, he said, "Me too." He said, because Prince could be saying one thing and thinking another. He might be saying, "Thank you, Father God, thank you, Jesus," but inside he might be saying, "Thank you, Satan, for making us perfect. Thank you, oh horned one, for giving us the power to spread disease and destruction."
I'm sure it wasn't anything like that.
We had a good laugh, but it's like with Prince, he
But you had to be on guard.
Very duplicitous, and I don't mean that in any. Just like
I know, we know what you mean.
You
just always had to be on guard because you never knew if like some shadier part of Prince was gonna just come out.
I mean, we tell small jokes to each other that we wouldn't tell to anybody, outside of the group.
Right.
But I mean, I remember, I'll share this one. Me and Magoo and Sonny were in Studio A, and Magoo was trying to fix something. But we were all standing there and we were sweating. And we weren't even doing anything. Me and Sonny were just standing there. And Magoo stops. He's like, "Man, why is it so hot in here?" And I don't remember if I said it. I think I said it because I'm kind of a Weisenheimer. I said, "I think he's trying to make it closer to, you're trying to get the temperature up, like so it feel more like at home, or something like that, And Sonny looked. He's like, "Man," and we had a good laugh. But I realized later, from Mike Scott told me that the entire building was bugged. Prince had cassettes of us just clowning him. Wow. Being 100% honest about him with each other. And Mike Scott said Prince played him a cassette of me and Sonny and Tommy and Morris, like upstairs out on the soundstage. There's like upstairs, there's a dressing room area where we would do like hair and makeup for videos and whatnot. And I guess he was like, "Man, y'all were merciless." And Prince was just laughing. He was just laughing, laughing his butt off, man. Like, and I thought to myself, your ego must be bulletproof, man. I couldn't take listening to somebody be 100% honest about me. I don't want to know. You know what I mean? But I thought to myself, you know what? I bet he really found that to be valuable. Because if you know what people are really thinking, and there's no other agenda, they're just speaking the truth from their perspective, you can learn from that. You can grow from that. You can figure out, like, some of the stuff we were saying was true, and maybe he hadn't even thought about it. You know what I mean? I think he may have used it to get to know himself better, maybe,
Right.
So I like to think of it that way. Otherwise, it's like, wow.
Well, and I also think there was a side of him that, many people have said that he really didn't have a lot of close friends and he never really knew who he could trust and who he couldn't. So I kind of feel like in a place like Paisley Park, where it would probably give him the only possibility of insight into what people actually think about him is to kind of, find out what people are saying behind his back and kind of, I am always on guard especially when I'm saying things on the show. It's just
Mhm.
like, you never know just who might who might listen and who might say things,
Sure,
especially when
you
they're still.
have to.
Oh
This
my
goes
God.
on. This is in perpetuity. This will be somewhere after you and I are dead.
Oh yeah. Hopefully.
We die at the end of this. Somebody said that on Instagram. Like, live your life. We die at the end of this, this crap. And I've just been thinking about that. It's like, you know what? You're right. Live the life you want. Like, what if you can get what you want? Get it, man. Like,
That's
why waste time and why deny yourself? Like, try everything you want to try, man. Do whatever you want. Like get all the gas out the car, because when the ride's over, the ride's over.
that's a hell of a bumper sticker. Do
Yeah,
it because
yeah,
we die at the end
yeah.
of this.
When the tank is empty, it's empty. That's it.
Oh my! All right, next question. Let's see what we get. This one actually came in last night. And this person's in Japan, loves the show, maybe listening right now. I don't know. Chip in if you are. Great. Mr. Michael Bland, do you have any story about Nothing Compares to You, the Prince live version? Like to know how it started musically. It is different from the ones on Originals or The Family a lot, in my opinion. And I didn't know if you were involved in the rehashing of this
I
live.
was, because what? Sinead covered it in like 90.
Right.
So I mean, I really think that that's where Prince, between Sinead O'Connor covering Nothing Compares to You and Tom Jones covering Kiss, Prince was over it, man.
I bet.
He was like, I remember I asked him in the Studio B lounge. I said, did I said, did Tom Jones have to ask your permission to cover Kiss? He said, no. He's like, actually, the laws had changed, like to the point where people could just cover whatever they wanted. Like right around the time that he did that. And Prince was like, you think I would have given him, I was like, yeah, Prince was like, what I don't understand is what was wrong with the original. Why you feel like you're going to go behind me on my own music? Like, what are you going to add to it that is going to, you know what I mean? Like, he felt some kind of way about it, and I know there's stories about maybe, some kind of incident between him and Sinead O'Connor. I couldn't say for sure, but I will say this. I was watching this 50 Years of Music SNL thing that was on over the weekend.
I've got it on DVR. I haven't watched it yet.
And I forgot how bad Sinead O'Connor actually was, man. I don't remember which song it was, but she was playing acoustic guitar. She was dressed in black and she had some shades on.
Music.
She was just singing her soul out, man. Like, she was just giving everything. And I was like, wow, I forgot how great she really was,
Yeah. And then
the controversy, loomed larger than her real ability as a musician.
Yeah, those who don't know what the controversy was, it was her ripping a picture of the Pope on television.
After singing an a cappella version of War by Bob Marley and the Wailers. she meant what she said, and she said what she meant. I have to respect that, man.
We die at the end of this.
We die at the end of this, man. Get it on. Say what you got to say. Do what you got to do. Like, don't deny yourself. Don't rebuke yourself. Like, get into it. Figure out who you are and what it is you want in life.
He had a bunch of Click had a bunch of questions at Click to me. We'll just pick.
Wait, I'm sorry, we didn't answer the question.
Oh yes, right, you did. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, I was involved in the transformation of Nothing Compares to You, and I think it was spurred by the fact that it was such a huge hit, and that a lot of people didn't realize that Prince wrote it. So I think it was kind of like, let these people know, like, that's mine,
Especially after she passed. Obviously he was still alive back then, but when she passed, they're still doing it. And Sinead O'Connor had the big hit, Nothing Compares to You, and they don't mention Prince or anything.
Yeah, sure, exactly. He felt like he wasn't getting his due, like,
Yeah.
So I was there. We rehearsed it in C major, and Prince was like, "Rosie, you sing this part." I mean, it happened in rehearsal. So I mean, yes, that recording was from live in the soundstage. we were playing for some kind of event or a benefit or something, but it was an event at Paisley Park, and we were the entertainment.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, I think maybe the mayor, maybe Sharon Sales Belton was the mayor of Minneapolis at the time. Minneapolis's first black mayor, and a woman, and I think it was something she was doing, and I think Prince went, yes, please, and that's where the recording came from. That's the version. I don't know what else really to say.
Yeah. I mean, Shanae, you're right though. We got to give credit to Shanae. I know there's a lot of stories, and a lot of Prince fans aren't fans of Shanae because of some of the stories that she shared about Prince that some believe are not true and whatever else.
Yeah, I get it.
But let me just say, you guys need to head to Spotify and listen to her very first album, The Lion and the Cobra, to really get an idea of the breadth of her. I mean, that album that she did that song on too was fantastic as well. She's a powerful singer. Powerful.
Yeah. No joke. Like a real, like you feel that Irish blood going through her veins. When
passionate. Yeah.
It's there, man. Like she wears her heart on her sleeve. And it's real. She was real.
Yeah, absolutely. This one's a lot of questions. So we'll just pick a couple of them. Have you ever hit someone on accident when throwing drumsticks into the crowd?
Wow. I tell you what, the first time I tried doing that, I did it. I succeeded. But as I was throwing them, I think it was Dwayne and maybe Joey, Prince's brother, and Joey, who worked security. I saw them waving their hands like, no, don't. Like, don't do it. But I was like, huh? And I just kind of threw them out anyway. And then I walked off the stage and they said, hey man, I think it was on the Love Sexy tour. Sheila did that and she injured somebody's eye. So they said, don't do that. That's right. No problem. That was at Wembley. I think that was the first night at Wembley Arena. And Prince like to play, he likes to play late on like the first show of a tour. He's pretty notorious for like doing a long encore, like to the point where he's got to where he gets fined by the venue or by the city. Like we always did that at Wembley. The first night at Wembley, we played long, man. We played everything we knew. Those people got like 3.5, 4 hours worth of entertainment when it was all over. That was on that tour because Mavis opened the show, and me and Prince both played with Mavis.
Mavis,
he'd be backstage, and Sonny played guitar, Billy Franzi played guitar, Barbarella was in Mavis's band, so was Margaret Cox. So I don't know why Prince was so generous at that time towards like the people in my circle, but he just really liked everybody, and he's like, let's keep this musical family together. Why not? Like he was so generous.
I
got to play with Mavis and with Prince. Like that's unheard of.
And a lot of people don't know if you've never just watched Questlove's movie Summer of Soul to see Mavis Staples.
Ooh.
Like the early days of Mavis Staples.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's a powerhouse now, but even in those days,
yeah, right.
God bless America.
She was so great to hang out with, man. She was so cool. Like you never saw her lose her temper or her composure. She was so just like, oh, hey, Montana. She nicknamed Sonny the Rain Man. she nicknamed Tommy. Hey, Tommy Hollywood, how you doing over there now?
Why you call it Rain Man?
I don't know, because she felt like because at first we thought she was like, what is she calling him, a savant? Or she meant like when he plays, like he brings the spirit, like he's like the rain's gonna fall. That sounds more along the lines of a Mavis line of thinking there.
Yes, yeah, but the other one, because I mean, listen, we're all on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Sonny is a little further out than some of us, and he's not as far out as some of us.
Everybody's on the spectrum somewhere.
Yes, we all got Rain Man tendencies, Sonny and I, we both have perfect pitch. We both play bass left-handed, Like, I'll tell you something that I was thinking about the other day that is again a non sequitur. It's just a fact that I realized like a little bit ago. I used to suffer from sleep paralysis.
Really?
And yes, I mean, sometimes it can still happen.
Wow.
But the first time it happened, I was in a
Now what happened? Now, what exactly happens to you when you have?
Okay.
You go into like a paralytic state when you're sleeping?
basically like my brain is active, but I
Wow.
can't move my body. Like I'm aware that I can't move. Like I'm trying to move my limbs and I cannot.
Okay.
It's scared the crap out of me.
Was it ever diagnosed as anything specific other than?
I didn't go to anybody to talk about it.
Okay.
But
All
here's
right.
what's funny about it. The first time it happened to me, I was in a hotel room in Birmingham, England, and I was scared to go back to sleep because I was like, what is this? So I got up and I got my clothes on and I went down to the hotel lobby, and where I find Sonny smoking and clearly stressed out. I said, hey, man, I said some strange, stuff happened to me a minute ago. He's like, man, I went to sleep and then I couldn't move my body. Like Sonny and I had this experience basically within the same time frame. I don't know what that's saying about our relationship. As like, what are we?
Or what's
You know what I
happening
mean?
spiritually in that space?
Yes. Like I said, this is what happened to me. I said, what happened to you? He said the same thing.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, what is that? And I'll tell you something else. I don't mean to get all spooky and creepy and,
No.
or like Scooby-Doo and all that.
Free for all, baby.
But the switchboard at Paisley Park. If you ever ask anyone who ever was a receptionist at Paisley that worked the front desk, they will tell you that almost every night they were flooded with calls from people who were angry and saying, tell Prince to stay out of my dreams. Like, literally. I met a woman when I was in Italy who said she was listening to Purple Rain. And I mean, this is dark, man. She was listening to Purple Rain and she heard Prince tell her to slash her wrists. And she did it. Now, but she said after that happened, she turned her life over to Jesus. But I'm like, okay, Prince was a very interesting person because while he didn't exhibit any characteristics of someone who would be into the occult, you know what I mean? There was always just weird things happening. Like people, somebody said, yes. Somebody told me, well, astral projection is possible.
Yes.
And I guess on some level, of course it can be, but it's like, did Prince spend time, focusing on things like that? I know that he spent time focusing on like frequency and the difference between analog and digital. Like there are several songs in the vault that we know where there were alternate versions where either he did it with like the Lin machine and the synthesizers, like a purely electronic thing. And then there'd be another version with real drums, like real bass, like more organic, and I think I remember him saying something to Rosie. He said, Rosie, your voice sounds better. Like the harmonics in your voice, lend themselves better to acoustic instruments. To like your voice doesn't sound right in a digital environment. Like if he tried recording her, with some of the stuff that was a little more, aggressive electronically, and he did not. It's like, no, your voice, you have a different kind of voice. You have a classic voice, like Aretha Franklin or somebody. Like you had to frame Rosie's voice with real instruments, nothing phony.
Right.
To him, at least, but
I mean, and he was that the frequency thing people are going to think this is crazy because these don't seem like very spiritual albums. But if you listen to pretty much all of the albums from the time, they all had that droning keyboard that goes through like a majority of the song, especially on the chorus. It goes,
Oh.
"Meh," and it just stays the
Oh,
entire.
that's like on I Don't Want to Leave You.
Yeah, it's just like it, and there it happens a lot. Even like it happens on the Bird, it happens on Jungle. I mean,
You know what that is?
there's a droning.
You know what that is? That's time code. That's SMPTE. It's back in the day, if you wanted to get instruments to lock up, there was I don't know that much about SMPTE, but it was an industry standard. And like, say you had a 2-inch tape, you got 24 tracks. You have to reserve one track for SMPTE, and that was the tone that I think that's the tone. SMPTE was just this tone that it acted. I think what it did was it I can't even remember, man. We'd have to go.
And even if some of those are SMPTE, it was strange that he left it in because
I think it was an accident. He went, cool. I like that. You
Yeah.
know,
a lot of those.
he would. I mean, there's accidents all over those records, all over ours too.
Oh, yeah.
I played stuff I didn't mean, and Prince was like, "That's cool. That's cool. I'll make something out of that." You know, like people think he was like this perfectionist, and he was not. He was really after, like, it was the spirit, you know, like it was really, he needed it to feel a certain kind of way, that which meant, I mean, even in cooking, if you overwork the dough, you're screwed. You know what I mean? So we wouldn't spend a lot of time. It was usually take 1 or take 2. And if I begged for a third pass, he would complain. He'd get mad. He's like, "You're worse than I am." "No, it's cool. Why don't you like it?" I said, "Prince, I just want to do one thing different." You know, "Nah, nope. You're dismissed, sir. Just kick me out the studio."
You've been dismissed before.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'd get that.
You've been dismissed before.
Oh, yeah, he would. I mean, if I always dismissed after I finished the job. You
I
know,
know, but in the middle of
he
it,
reminded me like he didn't want to discuss it any longer. He's like, no, this is fine. You're dismissed. I got what I need. This is about what I need, not what you need.
oh my God.
And he was right. It wasn't about me pleasing myself. It was about me doing what he needed to get the show on the road. Because anybody who has recorded records, or at least, you know, before digital recording, before everybody had a digital recording rig in their house, you couldn't do anything until the drums were down and in place. You know what I mean? Like, I had to be the first person to finish, and then everybody did their overdubs or fixed their mistakes after. I had to give one flawless performance so that they could all do what they needed to do. So it's, you know, it's a high pressure. There's a lot of pressure being a drummer in a band back then. You know.
Yeah. All right.
You could make it, or you could hold everything up. You know, the producers start looking at his watch. You know, then they start thinking about who else can we call. Like, when you're a drummer, you got to nail it, man. There's no room for funny business. You better get in there and do what it is, man. Time is money.
That's right. And you are the timekeeper.
That's right. We'd be cutting and listen to the drummer. Listen to the, you know, try to, if the band started to kind of loosen up. But that's how locked in I was with him, you know, that we were in agreement. And if anybody fell out, it became obvious immediately.
Yep.
So, needless to say, everybody in that band had extremely, just the strongest meter. I think the champ of all times, though, is Miko. Miko clocked harder than anybody.
Really?
Miko Weaver was the man. He was the tightest. He was the tightest.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard anybody call out Miko. We know he's great, but I've never heard anybody call him out and give him.
You just didn't ask Eric Leeds the right questions. He told me that in his monitor, all he had was Miko's guitar, him and Bliss, and Prince's vocal, so he could hear the cues. He said he didn't need anybody else. He's like, man, Miko was clocking so hard and playing so good. Like, might as well have been the whole band to me. And same here. All I needed to do was listen. Just listen. And I couldn't fall out of pocket if I wanted to. That's how locked those two dudes are. Miko and Levi were. I mean, that was a band that I joined more or less at first.
Right.
So Fink and Miko and Levi, it was like clockwork, man. All I had to do was get in there and not make too many mistakes. You know?
Man. That's, I mean,
yeah.
I think we want to go back and really listen to some of his stuff. I mean, you know, there's always so much to absorb with all of Prince's music, and you know, I mean, with the volume of music that he has, it's like really hard to give all the songs the attention that they probably rightfully deserve. But I'm going to go back and listen to some Miko tracks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, man, oh man, it's so nasty.
Oh yeah, I mean, we knew he was a monster, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
No, he was there for a reason. Actually, who told me this? Somebody told me the story. I think Levi might have told me this story that Prince flew out to L.A. and to be at like one of Sheila's rehearsals, or not L.A. I think they were in San Francisco, which makes sense. They were probably in Oakland. Now that I'm thinking about it, and Sheila was rehearsing her band, and Miko was playing with her. And Levi said, "Man, Prince is a trip, man." He said Prince flew out to the rehearsal, and he sat there. And Sheila said, well, "What do you think?" You know, and Prince said, "I don't know about that Miko Weaver. I don't know about that Miko. I don't know about him. I would get rid of him, and and get somebody else. And Sheila did it. Sheila fired Miko, and Prince gave him a job immediately.
Oh my God!
The next time Sheila came up to visit." Here, she saw Miko playing in Prince's band, and she was so mad.
Oh my God!
Said, I thought you said Miko was a problem, and I guess Prince was like, "He is, but he's funky. He's a funky problem, something like that."
Oh my!
He sounded pretty good, doesn't he? Like Prince he wasn't above, skullduggery and trickery, to get what he wanted. But I mean, that's playful,
Dude, that's hilarious. Oh,
and everybody ate. Everybody ate. Yes, this is really live.
Yeah, Floormore, it's really live.
Sorry, if you want to go to another question, let's hit it. Man.
Yeah, well, we got some more here because I can't wait for you to make your announcement. I'm so excited.
Yeah, all right, brother.
Let's get to a couple more questions, and then we're going to get to a big announcement that Michael had.
All right.
I always wondered when Prince opened his MPG store in Camden, London in 1994, why you weren't there with the rest of the band. I was sad that I didn't get to meet you with the other guys.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Oh, wait a minute. No, that wasn't that. It might have been. Yes, you know what? During that tour, I was always running late to stuff like that because sometimes we would all like take separate. This was in England. This is in London, or it's the campus.
Yeah, Camden, London. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were at a hotel. I think it was the. Oh wow! It was the Royal Garden Hotel on Kensington Street, and that's where we were staying. And Chris Poole was the reason I was late to a couple of those in-store things. Like we went to there was a series of in-store appearances one particular day, and I think the first one was like at an HMV, and the next one might have been at another store, and then we had the Camden store. And I think Chris Poole and I stayed too late at like the HMV, like buying records, oh dude, check out what they got. Like we just were geeking out, and oh wait, no, it was not Chris Poole. Even worse, it was
You're doing so much better than I would do. I told you about my Etch-a-Sketch brain where it's like
I got you, man. I'm trying to remember the dude's name.
Just and it's gone.
He was such a cool dude, man. He developed Crossroads and Storytellers for VH1. He was also the editor of Musician Magazine. I'm trying to remember his name though, but he was the one. He was there to do something Flanagan, maybe. Bill Flanagan, possibly. I think his name was Bill Flanagan. He'd also written a couple of books, and we would talk about music incessantly. Me and him just got on, man, and we were late. I think by the time we realized that we would be, it was like, dude, we've probably missed it by now, so we just didn't go.
Yep, it's Bill Flanagan.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Cool guy. Really, really cool guy. Yeah.
That's awesome. This question's come up. I don't want to ignore P-Funk. Was Derek Hughes supposed to be in the MPG? He was on an early configuration of the Exodus album, according to, I guess, Prince Fault or whatever.
Oh, I think that I don't remember the reason that Derek Hughes originally came to town, but Levi knew him, and Derek was known as like the male, basically the male counterpart to Rosie Gaines. Like they were the two baddest singers in Oakland, basically, you know. And I don't remember what he came up for, but I think
I remember MPG though.
yeah, but here was the gag because Derek was kind of he had a body that was made for like moving stuff. Like he had a lot of muscles, and he kind of dressed. Yeah, he kind of dressed like kind of like the crew dressed. And I remember it was either Levi or Prince joking about. Let me tell you what'd be funny is if we put him on the crew, and then like at some point when he's like moving stuff around, he just breaks over to the mic and just takes over. You know. Like it would have been a funny gag to pull off live. Like have him push some cases and then just take the mic away from Prince and start singing. Like they were something like that. And they was like giggled about the idea, but
it's kind of like an Aaron Neville type of dude where he's like really big and then
like he couldn't put his arms down. Right. It's like put your arms down, man. And it's like they're down, you know, but his biceps are so, you know, his pecs are so big he can't, you know. But I don't think so. I think it was a brief dalliance. I mean, he's a great singer. You know, I don't know if Levi might have been tracking with him or something. He was up here for some reason, but I don't think it was meant to be.
I guess it's a follow-up question for P Funk. Were there any musicians that Prince wanted in his band that didn't work out?
Well, we had Candy Dulfer early on. You know, Candy played with us on the Saturday Night Live 15-year anniversary.
Yeah, but she worked out though. She's been off and on.
Well, yeah. Prince wanted her. Prince had pursued her for a while. I guess he was at some point during maybe the Sign of the Times rehearsals. He was like I think he went to Eric and Matt and said, "I'm thinking about adding another horn to the band." And they were like, "Well, who is it?" You know, and he said it's this Dutch girl named Candy. And they were like, she better be bad because we know some women who can play circles around us. If you're looking for somebody serious, then let's talk about this. Like they were they didn't really seem too receptive to the idea. And you know, I mean, the two of them were like a whole section themselves. They didn't need any help. I think Prince thought it'd be cool to have a woman playing sax in his band, and he kept at it. He kept trying to get her. But I remember after we did the 15-year anniversary at Saturday Night Live, we went into kind of a rehearsal mode. But I think it was still finishing up tracks for the Graffiti Bridge, and so that's why she played on like Release It and The Latest Fashion.
Yep, she played on Batman soundtrack too, because she played on Party Man.
Oh, I guess that makes sense because that all was kind of like right in that zone, right? So I mean, she got really. I mean, it was Minnesota in the wintertime that ain't
nightmare.
Yeah, and she came all the way from Holland, came from Amsterdam.
She's so ballsy. Now I don't know if you read this in Sheila E.'s book when she came out. She was outside of the tour bus. Candy was outside of the tour bus, and I guess Sheila and Eric Leeds and all these people were on there, and she got in front of Sheila. This is how she got in, apparently. I'm paraphrasing the story. Basically, Candy was like, I'm a way better sax player than Eric Leeds, and was going on and on.
Girl, she knows better than that now. She wouldn't dare utter that. Hold on one second, man, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So for those of you just tuning in, oh my gosh, I guess I probably should have let you know you are listening, especially if you're listening to the audio version and you happen to come into the middle of the podcast. We have the very, very talented and celebrated drummer, Mr. Michael Bland in the house. Welcome back.
Yes, thanks, man. I just have to place a delivery order. I can do that. I can walk and chew gum, man.
Yeah, that's all right.
Good.
Where are you ordering from?
A place called Pizza Luce.
I love Pizza Luce.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the same one that's in Minneapolis, or?
Yeah, they have them. They have about maybe 4 or 5 locations.
Gia Maria's is my favorite when I'm in Minneapolis area. I find a way to get to Gia Maria's whenever I'm there. It's like,
I remember you saying that. I've never had their pizza. I'm gonna have to try to get it.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
I'm
like,
kind of off of that right now. I'm ordering salads, to be honest. So
there we go. I just
But,
recently became a fan of Wingstop. I'd never had Wingstop, and I don't know if you guys have them up there, but I ordered some boneless wings and from there, and I became obsessed because they were like actually bite into them like the whole thing's a piece of chicken. It's not like mostly bread. It's like, oh, and all of them are like that. And I was like, this is what a chicken nugget's supposed to be. This is unbelievable.
I got you.
Listen, there's a question in here, and I'm gonna let it be your segue because it's Claire Roundtree. She says, "I can't wait till another amazing show in April," and I'm just trying to figure out exactly what she's talking about.
Well, I'll tell you all about it, man. You don't have the graphic for the show at all, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I
so
do.
when I get into this, you can show them. We can do a little.
Just give me the finger and I'll whatever.
Tell you, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot.
Here we go. Here's the announcement, folks. Pay attention.
We're
Awake.
Yes, I mean, I got so much static and so many people going at me about when are you going to do another gig, another together gig like you did with with the brothers and Sonny and the Steels and everything. It's like, man, that was incredible, and we loved the song selection and everything. Like it was really like a lot of people were into it, and I really didn't know if it was going to be something that I could keep doing. I thought about making an annual thing out of it. At this point, it might not be a bad idea,
right.
But I'm saying all that to say, yes, you asked for it. You got it, Toyota. It's together. Saturday, April 19th at where are we doing it? At the Hopkins Center for the Arts this year. As you can see, it's Tommy Barbarella will be there. I'll be there. Levi Fink is joining us this year. And also special guests with the group. Special guests in the rhythm section is Odell and Rick Rock from Mint Condition. Sonny had a scheduling conflict and I just couldn't work it out. So those dudes are joining us and our singers, G Sharp and Ashley Commodore and JB will be with us like last year, and the Urban Classic Horns. And it's the Steels and and all those guests, they cost a fair amount of money. You don't
Yeah, they do.
Somebody said, oh, Wayne McFarland told me his mom used to say, cheap thing no good, good thing no cheap. And yeah, I love them dearly. I just don't have it in my budget. And so I'm going to make up for it by just playing twice as hard as I did last year, I guess. Why not? Yeah, man, it's gonna be a really great show. I was just talking to Levi today and asked him like to make sure he had access to the Dropbox work folder I put together and whatnot. It's gonna be a joyous occasion.
Now, when do tickets go on sale for this event?
Apparently February 11.
Okay, February 11, you say?
Yes.
I think I'm doing a show that night. So
that's a Tuesday, huh?
So I feel like I'll drop that announcement in for those who missed it at the front end. I'll do my announcement.
Okay.
But after we do this workup, because I think it's important.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, yes.
Tickets for together. And again, the show is Saturday, April 19th. It's a tribute to the music of Prince, and it's going to have. Go ahead, Michael. I don't want to steal your time.
We're not just sticking to like the MPG catalog, and also without Sonny, we're kind of hobbled in that regard. So I was like, let me get Fink on, and it's gonna be a retrospective. We're gonna play stuff from earlier. We're gonna play stuff from later. We're just gonna do what we want, But I mean, since it is a like a proper venue, it's not a bar. It's a center for the arts. Like we can't do it. I can't just ignore Purple Rain or 1999 or Kiss. Like I kind of got to give the people what they want, you know. So
This is gonna be amazing. It's
yeah,
gonna be
no, it's going to be tight. Now that we know what we're doing, yeah, it's after we had one, you know. Also, this is a more appropriately sized venue. Last year we did the Uptown Theater held like 1,700 people. This place holds 7, so we plan on selling out. So
that's gonna be it's gonna be an amazing show. It's gonna be really, really cool.
yeah,
Keep them. This is in Hopkins, Minnesota, which is kind of near Bloomington.
yeah,
Kind of near Bloomington, Eden Prairie, that little quadrant there.
yeah.
So what you guys have to know is that it's a Saturday. So you're not going to have to take off work. You're not going to have, if you have to travel to get in, like I'm probably going to come to the show. So I will probably be at the show in Hopkins, Minnesota, but you need to know that it's a Saturday. So you don't have to take off work. You can leave after work, you can fly out Saturday morning if you want to, and then come hang out, enjoy the show, spend the night, Sunday, maybe chill a little bit, whatever. You don't have to take any time off to get to this show. It's on the weekend, which makes this amazing. And again, it's members of the new power generation. It's going to be Michael Bland, Tommy Barbarella, Levi Caesar Jr., Dr. Fink of the Revolution. You got Odell and Rick Rock from Mint Condition that's going to be doing some stuff. You got G Sharp, JD, Ashley Commodore. I mean, everything is here. It's going to be amazing.
You know what? Let me give him a little dap because all right, because I ought to. DJ Dudley D is throwing an after party at a club about 10 minutes away from the venue. So
what?
We finish about 9:30. So you can, the people can leave and they can go party with Dudley right after.
See, and that makes it even better because then it's a double. Okay.
Yeah. No, we coordinate, man. We're trying to give people,
It's going to be amazing. So the tickets go on sale on the 11th, but
yes,
I would go ahead and because I think this is going to be, it's getting close to the sweet spot for the window for airline tickets or that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of in a sweet spot if you have to travel like I do I'm coming from Atlanta to come to the show. So get ready because this is going to be a lot of fun. You got this event and a dance party afterwards. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I mean, man. So how far back are you going?
I mean, not much further back than we did before, but we did like Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad.
That's far back.
That's far back. And I'm probably going as current as maybe, really probably as current as like Musicology, like probably Call My Name, maybe something else off that record. But, that's the plan right now. You don't want me to literally give away what we're going to be getting into.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just kind of I don't want you to do that. And of course, for those that, would like to be there for the transition day, obviously this is 2 days before Prince passed, which is April 21st.
Right.
So there may be some people that plan to already be in Minneapolis during that window of his passing. I may wrap it in. I don't know. I haven't really decided.
Sure.
It's kind of one of those things where Prince's passing really hit me really, really hard.
Yeah.
Hard, definitely in the top 3 of people that passed that really hit me. So it's kind of tough for me to be at ground zero on the day. It's like, it's a lot. But I think because if I'm coming out there for this and a dance party and are you leaving town? Are you leaving out of Minneapolis after the show? Or are you going to be hanging out or?
Am I?
Yes.
I generally, I might hang around to just like talk to, it's there's not going to be a meet and greet really this year. So I might just, like arrange so that people have open access to the dressing room and they can just come back and speak if they want.
No, I was talking about just being around for the weekend itself.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll be here.
Okay. This is great. It's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Help me sell this, man.
You heard, oh yeah, absolutely. You heard it here first. Together, Saturday, April 19th at the Hopkins Center for the Arts. It's going to be a tribute to the music of Prince. Again,
Yeah.
it's got
So you're
Tommy
right.
Morello, Michael Bland, Levi, Dr. Fink, Odell, and Kitten. It's going to be an amazing show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, I will be there. There's something, and there's also a dance party that's going to be happening after. It's not affiliated with this, but it's happening. So if you have to,
We're boys, man. We're affiliated. Why not?
oh yeah, so you had to have multiple reasons to come into town. There's your second reason.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, it's the weekend. So, and tickets go on sale on February 11th. And I will remind you of when tickets go on sale at the beginning of the show that we do on February 11th. And for those that missed it, we'll tell them about that too. For those that missed it, February 11th is the 40th anniversary. The 40th anniversary of this album right here.
Sorry, I forgot that quick, man.
No, it's all right. The 40th anniversary of Jesse Johnson's Review happens on February 11th. That's just, it happens to be a Tuesday, and it happens to be the exact day for the anniversary of this album. And if you missed it, we will be doing the celebration with Jesse Johnson on the show February 11th. So Jesse Johnson is going to be walking through the album, Jesse Johnson's Review, with us that night. And I will remind you on February 11th that the tickets go on sale for this together, and make sure that you get in there and get your tickets and get that all situated, get your travel plans all locked down and whatnot. And then get ready to tune in to Jesse Johnson and yours truly, Mr. Christopher, as we walk through Jesse Johnson's Review. That's going to be amazing. I literally, when he said he was coming back to do this, I could barely contain myself. I couldn't sleep all night.
Jesse don't like talking to too many people, man. So you
He's
you got it, bro.
He's fantastic. I love it. I love him. But I am like so excited for this together event. And I know that you were trying to put this together, and I'm glad that some pieces actually came together. And I'm just excited about this, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be really something, man. And so many weird random thoughts go through my head when I'm studying and putting this music together. I had a whole conversation with Fink the other day about like just the keyboard work on the difference between the keyboards on Purple Rain and the keyboards on 1999. And I said, it was just a few days ago, I listened to both and I just focused on the keyboards. It's the work is incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's so the question I asked Fink, I'm like, was Prince the type of dude to like look for patches on the keyboard and go, oh, that's kind of cool, and then figure out a way to use it? Or was he like, I need this sort of sound? And then he would go forth like seeking something specifically. And I think Fink was just like, it's kind of both. And I'm like, dude, what is going on during the third verse of The Beautiful Ones, where that weird note, where that happens? I'm like, what's going on there? Is that? And we start talking about, the technical aspects of the Oberheim synthesizers and what did he use? He's like, oh yeah, he just took the portamento and this, and he's like, but I'm sure that it didn't just work like that. Like Prince probably had to attempt that part many times.
Yeah.
Because as it modulates, it's modulating at a very specific spot. So like that whole conversation just blew my mind, and even more so the fact that, like with 1999, Prince just basically handed it to Lisa and Fink and said, learn this, like the whole record. He didn't tell them what patches he was using. They had to basically interpret from the ground up, like what's that? And yeah, I confirmed with Fink. I said some of those patches he doubles some parts. Like he's like, yeah, that was like something he did. He wanted in the method. It was like, you can't completely copy what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to make it so hard for you to copy to catch what I'm doing that you might just give up.
Or I'm going to change it so drastically that nobody will be able to lift it. Or
Yes, he'd take two
Right.
patches and he'd play the same part. And it's like there's no preset for that. There's no, you know what I mean? It's like he
it's on
really
the same channel. Yeah, so it's
he
just,
customized everything. But it's really interesting because finally Fink said, you know what? I really think that Prince was the type of artist who, like, he looked to please himself first.
Mhm.
Like some people pander, and or they're aiming for something commercial, or they have some
Hello.
market.
Hey, dear. Sorry, I got the Shelby J says, "Hey, Michael." I'm
Oh, hey, how you doing now?
Hey, Shelby, baby.
Shelby, baby.
Shelby, baby.
But
Love her.
yeah, he really just like tickled his own fancy and just hoped that maybe somewhere in the world somebody else might dig it. That
Yeah.
was kind of his approach. He's like, yeah, I understand if people don't get me, but I got to be me. I gotta present authentic. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so it's funny because another person said to me that Prince is remarkable in this one respect. Nobody has the audacity to say Prince sucked.
No.
You might not like what he was doing that year, but you knew what he was doing that year. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even people who don't like some of Prince's music knew what he was doing and knew that he was expert level, top tier.
Yeah.
Like, they had to respect his music even when they didn't like it.
Right.
And not everybody can do that. Not everybody can garner that kind of respect.
Yeah. It's agreed. I've never found anybody that ever disliked Prince or hated Prince. You either liked him
Or you didn't like it.
or impartial.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's some people who really couldn't stand it. There's people who really did not care for Prince's music. I heard that Marvin Gaye didn't like Prince's music. Marvin Gaye said that's not sensual.
Which song was he listening?
I mean, it was just any. I mean, what? I mean, I guess what? But he was alive in 1980, so Dirty Mind was out.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. The Do Me Baby wasn't sensual to him. I would think that he would have.
When's the last time you put on "I Want You" by Marvin Gaye? It's a valid point.
There's no comparison. I'm not.
Oh man,
Yes, there's no comparison.
that's the most sensual record of all times, man.
Right.
That's not even near his bestseller. That record changed my life. It changed. It changed my life. It changed my love life a little bit.
Mhm. Oh yeah, as it should.
Not as much as Al Green did, but almost.
Pastor Al Green, sir.
Yeah, that's Pastor Al Green. Yeah. Oh, it was a shame about. Oh, I'm so dark, man. It was a shame about that woman. She.
Oh no! All right, time out.
she oh, you know the story I was going to with the grits, the hot grits and everything. All right, we don't have to go there. Yeah, that poor woman. I can't believe he got away with that, man. But see, there it is. When black people kill each other, it's ain't no big deal.
It's a big deal.
Let them sort it out. Al sorted it out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, you're catching me in a weird space, man.
No, it's fine. That's again.
Right.
Welcome to the free for all. That's what this is.
That's what free for all is all about.
Oh my gosh. Let me see if we had any residual questions before I let you, because let's see who was well, Man Ray had a question here and I had it, but I don't remember what he was talking about. Do you still have a rehearsal cassette of that session? I wonder what we were talking about. That was probably taken out of context. I'm sure you have cassettes from pretty much all the sessions that you probably did. Was there? I know you mentioned there was a couple of
No,
you guys did that weren't dropped.
I think what he's referring to is the cassette that was left at SIR after we rehearsed to do that show at House of Blues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I walked past the tape deck on my way out, and I was like, oh, Prince left the cassette in here, and I never ended up giving it back to him. So yeah, so I have this cassette. Yes, I have it.
Yeah. Did you ever? When's the last time you sat down with a box of cassettes from that era and just was like and just absorbed it? Or are you saving that for your twilight years when you're like, let's see what I did when I was a young man?
Man. I don't know. Probably when I had there's a guy who's a fan of Soul Asylum and Prince named Mike Vigo.
Okay.
And he kind of is involved in like sports memorabilia. He actually tried to do a couple of events together, and it didn't work out. We couldn't get the rest of the MPG to agree to like signing a bunch of these photos and making them for sale, like that sort of thing, like signed merchandise, that sort of thing. And he came over and we were talking about something, and and the cassette was kind of close by. I was actually salvaging. I was what's the word I'm looking for? Harvesting samples from some cassettes of like some stuff. And so that cassette happened to be in the company of everything else. So I put it in real quick and I let him hear what it sounded like. And I think that was the last time. Probably, I don't know, at this point, 5 years ago, 6.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of reminiscing, man. It's I don't know how to explain
I understand you have so much more recorded than I ever could, but I mean, when I think of the hundreds of hours that I've done of this show, being that this is the 20th year, I can't even imagine like sitting and listening to some of these interviews. I know a lot of times they come up because maybe Dwayne Tudall said, "Hey, you interviewed so and so, and I listen to that for the book that I'm doing or whatever." And I may go and re-listen just because I know that he's going to be listening to it, or
Sure.
But yeah, I can only imagine that you probably have hundreds of those cassettes and recordings and whatnot that are laying around that you're like,
I had some, and some of them I sold because they were really useless to me. Like early on, when we first started getting, like when there was songs that Prince wanted us to learn, we would get cassettes of just the parts we were supposed to play. Not if there was unreleased music, we only got our parts on cassette.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. That seems kind of strange with and not for you, but maybe for another artist. It was just like a time clicking and then their part. I mean, like they wouldn't have any sense of what the song was about or the flow, or
not really. I mean,
that seems difficult.
Yes. I mean, sometimes we'd get some. I do remember getting a couple of corresponding cassettes. Like I think I had Graffiti Bridge pretty much on cassette, and then I remember getting like there was a series of cassettes also that accompanied that were just like the drum programming, and yeah.
Man, it's just hard because I know even with you as a drummer, and you talk about your drumming process is that you also like to feed off of a lot of other musicians like Miko.
Mm-hmm.
And, to not have that element in your ear to kind of really give it your best. I guess if you're just practicing, then it all would kind of come together in rehearsal, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think at rehearsal, we would probably have the full version to reference.
Yeah.
Then you start to understand where things go. Oh, I had that reversed. It goes like this, like.
Yeah. Okay.
It was hard. It was easier for me than a lot of people because usually on Prince songs, the drumming is pretty consistent. Like it's almost always happening. Like, but with the guitars and the keys, like they kind of enter and exit, and it's harder to make out without a lead vocal or something.
I bet it's got to be too much.
Yeah.
Gustavo says, please don't forget my Prince Fing question. I don't remember. Can you repost that question and we'll ask it as soon as it pops up. In the meantime, Shelby says, Shelby J, who is this Shelby J? She says, what is your absolute favorite Prince song to play live?
Wow. You know what? I never really looked at it that way. I had a lot of fun, like playing almost anything. Really, it's I didn't. I'm when it comes to music, it's really more about what can I add. Like I don't really look at music so subjectively, I guess.
I say when I used to play, I used to be a lead vocalist, and for a lot of.
I was going to ask you, man. Hold up. Wait a minute. Before you continue on that, I was hoping you'd bring something up about you and your band.
Okay.
I like the recordings you sent me, man. But the one thing that I was like, how come there's no backgrounds on any of these songs?
They didn't really do a lot of backgrounds. And that was, I think that if we would have gotten to a point where we were kind of more, when we did them live, they would always do backgrounds, but for whatever reason, they didn't do like a whole bunch of backgrounds. There's some of those
That's
things.
the only thing I found kind of odd. I was like, well, how come they, like, I'm hearing all sorts of stuff that could be happening.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those songs are,
you're great, man. I enjoyed listening.
Yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate it. But what I was going to say is that sometimes when we would be out and performing, I would look down at the set list and I would see a song coming up and I'd be like, man, I can't wait to play that or sing that song because I can really kind of show my chops a little bit on, certain tracks. There's nothing that you're not a really showy person anyways, really. You like to just kind of do your thing.
Yeah. I mean, but not only that, you have to understand that the musical landscape when you're working for Prince is changing so fast. Like you can't get used to anything. You're not playing anything long enough to get sick of it. Because Prince had such a sort of short attention span about things. Like he'd get bored easy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm saying, I told people, like literally, sometimes we'd be walking out to the stage after prayer meeting. We walk into the stage and Prince yells, "Take Me With You" is out tonight. Instead, we're going to do, put in Raspberry Beret. And, okay. I'm walking to the stage and like, I have to remember this because my set list isn't going to reflect that.
Right.
I just have to remember not to mess up and, start the wrong song. Meanwhile, I have the pressure of playing a flawless show from top to bottom with that thing to keep in mind. It was not a situation where when I was there, it was not a situation where you got to sit back and enjoy. You know what I mean? And
right.
Again, I talked with Levi about this one time. He said he asked Prince, there's easier ways to do this. How come we can't just set everything at a certain amount, like do the arrangement and just have it set, And I mean, he's like, it would make it a more enjoyable experience, And Prince was basically like, for who? For you? This is not about you. This isn't about any of us. It's about the fans.
I will have to agree with him on that particular case because when we went to Prince Piano, now I've seen him multiple times, obviously 27 times total, but Prince Piano and a Microphone, his final 2 concerts here in Atlanta, I was at both of the shows and I bought a ticket to both of the shows because I knew as a Prince fan and historically that he was not going to play the same thing over and over again. I knew it was going to be
he's bored with it.
Right. I knew it was going to be a completely different show. Same thing with even the shows that were really succinct and very like the Montreux Jazz Festival shows. They were just, you knew that they were going to be vastly different, even as intricate as they were. So,
yeah, I'm sorry. I was paying half attention because my wife is.
No, understood. It was all good.
I'll give you a little insight into my. Don't say nothing about it. Okay, never mind. I can't give you insight into my recreational habits and preferences.
Yeah, because the delivery is probably there by now, right? So we got.
It will be, but
okay. Yeah. So we got it. We got to like barrel through these questions. I did find Gustavo's questions, and then we'll cut you loose and go. But Gustavo's question was, Michael, on New Tour, there was a jazzy jam with a piano solo before Party Man. The lights were off. Was it Prince or Fink?
It was Fink.
It was Fink. There you go, Gustavo. There's your answer. That was pretty. That was a pretty quick, easy one.
Let's do it. This is the bonus round. Let's get it, man.
Bonus round. Okay. P-Funk says, question for Michael: has Prince ever met your parents?
No, but I used to tell him stories about my dad. My dad was outside. I told Prince this story because I found it so funny because Prince had said something about one of his assistants used to type up his lyrics, so that they went with the songs in the tapes in the vault, right? But Prince would never give them the lyrics. They'd have to listen and type them out. I think it might have been Karen Krattinger who worked for Prince. He said she I saw her interpretation of the lyrics for When Doves Cry, and he said it said dig if you will a picture of me and Marvin Gaye and the kids.
I think you told me this story before.
Yes.
I was on the phone with you.
And he thought that was funny, and I said, man, my dad was outside with the weed whacker, and he was singing Purple Rain. And I was in the house, and I was by a window, and I heard my dad. My dad said, "Purple rain and all them things." Prince almost fell on the floor, man.
Yeah, I misheard so many Prince lyrics. I mean, there's countless ones of them. I've even had shows where I talked about that, where it's there's so many great ones.
Yeah.
All right, let's go doing this bonus round. Taurus Curry says, "When the Lights Go Down" from the Vault album is one of my faves and a very underrated song. Was that birthed out of one of those Power Trio rehearsals?
No, it was not. That song was meant to be included on the I'll Do Anything soundtrack, and it was just a groove that Prince kind of asked for. He's like, keep the drums understated. I'm like, at this tempo, he like, so gave me the tempo, and he kind of gave the bass line to Sonny. Yeah, that boom. You know,
it's a stepper in that da. It's an extra.
So I mean, it was not. It was just a studio incarnation.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you have any specific memories of the MPG Glam Slam 1994 birthday 3-night shows?
Oh wow, that was rough, man. Miami.
Sean Dan says something. Sorry.
That was a very strange situation. I think that was where we were like doing like simulcasts to the other two clubs. Like it was not just we were playing in Miami, but you could see and hear us at the Glam Slam in Minneapolis and at the Glam Slam in LA.
Mm.
So it was kind of like a simulcast sort of thing. But it was also like, I mean, it was kind of, we were still sort of playing, not the popular music, but like the new music, Yeah. And which, had its own kind of popular. But I mean, it was like, we really weren't playing any hits. That was like right on the cusp of like Exodus and all that. So we just kept moving, We were playing songs off of Come. And then we were playing like a bunch of like outtakes, like Acknowledge Me and like stuff like that, man. It was really crazy. I don't know. I don't know if people really got what was going on. We just had to kind of just play and not worry about it,
You had to be a hardcore Prince fan and in that specific era to really, know some of those deeper tracks. Because most of the time it was just like, if you were just a casual fan and you came into those shows during the 90s, you were just like, he might play something too, but he was pulling from everywhere. It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
I think but I mean, again, it was just like, it was so hot. You got out of the shower and you're wet all day in Miami,
Yeah.
I didn't like the humidity. I was used to the mosquitoes because Minnesota's got a bad mosquito problem too. But yeah, it was just strange, man. It was just like a lot of really late nights. And it's like, what are we building towards here? It just felt very random and like, I don't know. I can't tell you I really understood what was happening.
There's a lot going on there. A lot of people keep talking, and I'm going to go ahead and clear this up too. Eddie Prank says, wasn't the Rainbow album Rainbow Children cover an existing painting of all female musicians? And so I do want to clear that up. While it does look like Michael on the cover, it is actually, if you look at the actual cover, it is an all-girl band.
Wow.
All of the members of this band are all girls.
Okay, you know what?
A little Michelle and Deggio action down here, but
you right, man.
And all of the and the actual painting was originally called the Rheinkais Quintet. So that is that. But yeah, I mean, it was it's a pretty shocking and stark album cover. And yes, so I mean, so shout out to Sababi Bayak, who is the artist of
I
that
see.
Bravo
Okay.
album cover. It's
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. It's
I didn't
pretty,
know anything about it. Yeah. I
oh
didn't
yeah, he's pretty fantastic. And all right, we'll call it on the all right, one more question from Ann Smith here. Were there people close to Prince that he trusted that you knew were shady, and did you tell them your thoughts?
Ooh.
It's kind of hard to tell with the people that were coming in and out of in that period of time, and especially in the 90s. There was a lot of hangers on and people that came in and out. I mean, I've heard stories, but whether or not you knew somebody specifically that maybe was in the mix.
Wow, man, that's a very interesting question because I don't know if Prince really my personal opinion is that I felt like our relationship with Prince was some sort of trauma response from his situation with the revolution. You know, I really felt like that was as close as a band was ever going to get to him. And I think after that, he became a lot more legalistic about how he included people in his lives outside of musically. You know, to be fair, the most intimate thing you could share with Prince was a recording session. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm also I'm floored to know and to understand that I was on more recordings than I'm on more recordings in the vault as a singular musician. Like I was on more Prince recording sessions than any other person.
And that says a lot. I mean,
It does. It says a lot about how he felt about my work, how he felt about being around me as a person. You know what I mean? I think that he knew me to be pretty honest, but I mean, I really would not go out of my way. I felt like, you know, this is a question I've thought about a lot since his passing. I thought to myself, could I have been a better friend to this person? But by the time he and I met, the die was cast. He had switched over into this other mode where he was like, you know, the band and I are two different entities, kind of. You know, like it wasn't like we spent like social time together that wasn't, you know, mandated. You know, we used to call it mandatory fun sometimes because you know, we'd play a show and we would either go to the recording studio or Prince would want to go to a club. And you couldn't really like say no to either, no matter how exhausted or whatever else you might have wanted to do. So, you know, I think we were as close. His band was as close to him as anybody could be, you know?
Yeah, because that was his love language. Music was his love language. So if you were part of that mix, you were in his
for real. Yeah, he was very it was we were as close as we could be, is what I decided. Because again, he I think he really didn't know who he could trust. And I think that's also the reason why that building was heavily surveilled and why he wanted to, you know, kind of get an honest, you know, rendering of, you know, what we thought. I was going to say something earlier about Days of Wild. We didn't like the original version. We didn't get it. And I think that Prince overheard us somehow about that. And that's why it didn't make that version didn't make the Gold Experience.
How different was it? And what was different about it? I mean, it's definitely a great party song for sure. But
the version is out there. It's just the only I've seen it I think on YouTube, didn't I?
Oh, probably. Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure. There's like a bunch of versions out there. I didn't know if the one you were referring
to. But the live versions all like beat the crap out of the studio version. And Prince figured that out after we started adapting it for live. Like, I remember Sonny and I both looking at each other, and Sonny was like, "This track's kind of weak. Like something is missing, man." And I think ultimately Prince probably agreed because he never officially released that version, but we always played Days of Wild live.
Yeah.
it reached a space that he couldn't on his own with the original version.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was the wild sign that got everybody going. You know,
Yeah. Oh no, man. Man.
It was marketing. Yeah, it was
exactly.
You knew how to turn it up.
Go up the wild side. It'll do you no harm. It's quoting Sly Stone from Woodstock and whatnot. See, I know too much music. I've seen too much. Prince never. He was never too slick for me, man. Like, oh, I hear that. Okay, he's quoting Sly again. All right, I got you.
We all die at the end of this.
Yes, get it out. Say what's on your mind, even if it's somebody else's thoughts. Get them out, man. But yeah, I mean, it's yes. So I mean, yeah, it's yeah, and I don't think that anybody that I knew. It's like we may have had our opinions, and we might have gotten disgruntled from time to time because it was hard work, and he could be unreasonable sometimes. But I don't think there's a question that he over whether or not he had our respect as a musician, as a hard worker, as a as a visionary, as an alchemist, really, So it's like we knew, I mean, there's nobody that we're not going to see another person like him in our lifetime. I don't think. It may come back in some other form, but somebody like that who's got it's like so much technical facility with instruments, but then he's got this imagination that won't quit. There's a whole, it's more like you're a bit player in his world for a while. That's what it is. It's like he builds a world and then he assigns you a place in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you're lucky to be in that world.
That's right. It was mostly gratitude. So and I would never, without real evidence, I would never just sandbag somebody. I don't know if you can trust. Prince had enough suspicious energy in his body alone. So he was always looking. I mentioned I had heard Power Fantastic, and I asked him, I said, did Miles Davis play the trumpet on Power Fantastic? He turned around, he said, where'd you hear that song? It was not even like are you bootlegging? It was like, it's right to the bootleg thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and I tell him, oh, I heard such and such, and then, but it was like, he was very wary of all that. But I know, I think I've told this story before, but it's not even a story. Somebody who worked at the Hit Factory in New York said Prince's limo would be waiting out front of the building, and he'd be waiting for somebody to master like live concerts. Like some of those bootlegs Prince kind of put out there himself is what I think.
Oh, I think it too. Absolutely. There's just no. Yeah. I mean, you could tell when they were revisioned or not revisioned, but when they were duplicated and replicated over, especially in the 80s, because the quality of some of it was just garbage. But some of the stuff that was out there, yeah, absolutely. But in your case, as a musician, you also know that he was freely giving out cassettes quite a bit to the various musicians. So there's like a bunch of different sources that could have leaked from.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I've even heard of people who purchased these things, they've told me who the culprits were, like not everybody was to be trusted, but I can say with certitude that but by the time it was, I mean, Levi too, Levi, Morris Hayes, Tommy, Sonny, me, we would have never, he could have trusted us a lot more than he realized. But once you got one eyebrow raised and you're peeping around corners and whatnot, it's hard to walk that back. Like if your posture is like, I gotta, everybody is a threat potentially, then that's the posture you have to live with. That's just how you end up treating everybody. And it's unfortunate because he was
he could never let his guard down.
He could really he would sometimes when it was one-on-one, but mostly it was like, I mean, he was very funny. He had a great sense of humor. Yeah. He could be self-effacing even. Yeah, it was, but I think that that was really part of the deal is that you don't know who to trust, really. I mean, yeah. And with him, it was even like it got into like family at some point, like, like I mean, I'll
You'll
tell this story, and God bless all these people, because I'm not telling this story to be salacious. I'm
Right.
telling this story just to let you in a little more into Prince's psyche and how he responded to situations that were questionable. That could be. He was driving that Thunderbird down Highway 5, and he used to drive kind of at irresponsible speeds. The vehicle turned over. It was the Thunderbird with the suicide doors. He flipped it on 5 West.
What?
Dwayne jumps up and runs out of Paisley, gets in his car, and drives up to meet him. And Dwayne told me the story. He said, "Man, I pulled over. The car was tipped over. His hands were on the pavement. He's crawling out of the car as I pull up." And Dwayne was just saying, he was trying to lighten the intensity of the moment. And he said to Prince, he said, "Oh man, you're all right." He said, and Dwayne said, "For a minute, I saw my check go up in flames." And he was just trying to be funny about it. He said Prince stood up and looked him in the face and said, "Is that all you care about?"
Oof.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's a person that's trauma response. When
Yeah.
you can't even see the irony of the situation you're in, and your brother can't even joke around with you on that level. It's like he kind of had to question everybody in his circle.
Yeah. I never heard that story. That's amazing.
I might have been the only one who heard it. I think just like I happened to be there when Dwayne got back.
Man,
Yeah.
it's just that world. It's just, you were just
It's
so
rough.
isolated. Even
in
the open, you were isolated. It was just, poof.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, I don't think he needed anybody watching out for him necessarily, because he would wonder, what are you watching out for? Do you know something I don't? It'd be that sort of line of questioning. It's a very defensive and kind of assertive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. Oof. It's a lot. I can't tell you. I always love having you on the show, because you and I always kind of get into a little bit of a banter. We do this on the phone calls too, but we just talk for a long time because we just love sharing stories, man. It's just awesome just being able to kind of, just banter back and forth, especially about off-topic things like XTC, the band.
Oh, right. Yeah. No. I mean, that's the thing is that
That's awesome, man. Oh,
yeah, man. I mean, yes, it's enjoyable for me too. I didn't know that your pockets went that deep. Yeah. How old are you?
Me, I'm 56. I was born in 68. You're
Okay.
like,
I'll be 56 in March. Yes.
yeah. So I was gonna say we're in the realm. We're there.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we're relating. We're in that same zone. I got it. Can I just who is this wisdom and love person saying Michael Bland is just being the jerk that he is?
I love seeing little things like this. No, first off,
Is that person being facetious, or are they being serious? They think I'm being jerky.
No, they were referring to the joke that Dwayne had told or whatever during the accident or whatever.
Oh,
so they were saying that was a good time to joke, and then that's where Wisdom said exactly, and then this is, but that he was just telling a story. Wisdom, that had nothing to do with it. So,
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you can think what you want. I'm just trying to keep it real, man. Really, I'm not trying to be.
And you were just telling a story. It had nothing to do. You didn't have an angle in it at all. It was just a story.
Dog in the fight. Yeah, he didn't do. It had nothing to do with me, really. I just was like, but in observation, I was like, wow, this dude really, like. And then you find out the stories about just how he came up. And his relationship with his dad and his mom, and just all sorts of things. It's like, no wonder. I mean, no wonder no wonder he was so kind of protective. Like, he kept his guard up.
And you can never let your guard down.
But see, that's the thing also. But in the studio, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and that's the point of the story. The point of the story is that even in a scenario where, you know, someone that you know is all behind you and has got your back and is there for you and is like the equivalent of a, you know, your brother on earth, even in that moment, you know, you're like, your guard is all up, and it's just it's a lot. It's got to be a lot. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish that type of engagement with humanity. That it's just too much. It's too taxing, and especially in the mental health era, it's just
it just occurred to me that really it's also, you know, I'm thinking about the fact that it's like he took mistakes personally.
Oh yeah.
Like, you mess up Prince's music. You were gonna hear about it. He was gonna give you that he's like the ice grill. Like, man, I can't tell you how many times I saw that face. I hated to be the one, you know, that it was directed at. But
yeah,
you know, it's just like he was, you know, it's like we could, you know, we were all friendly and everything, and it's like, but just, you know, respect my music. Some things couldn't be helped. Sometimes it was the gear. He didn't care. He wasn't going to go yell at your keyboard. He's going to yell at you. Get it straight, you know?
Yeah, especially in live situations.
So I'm saying it's like, but that tells you also, I mean, that's where his heart was at in the music. It's, you know, he wanted to be excellent always. He wanted us to be excellent always. And it's kind of like he was like the Michael Jordan and we were like Scottie Pippen, and, you know, it's like, you know, an outsider might think he was being particularly pointed, or, you know, like maybe it's like, well, why is he getting so upset? Because we are in his intimate space.
That's right.
That's why it is. Well, that's why it means something to him. Don't, you know, take my music serious. And of course we did. You know, we couldn't have hung if we weren't up to the job. And for the averages, like, we won a lot. We played a lot of great shows that were practically flawless. We only made mistakes every once in a while, but when it happened, oh man.
Yeah.
He finally got to the point with me where if something happened back there, if I made a mistake, he kind of just like he'd ridicule me, you know, at the after show. I heard you on, you know, it became a thing to him because I had a very high success rate.
Yeah.
As a performer with Prince.
And a high standard that you just internally for yourself that
I didn't mess up often. None of us messed up often, but I made it my business to be like, you can't shake me, Prince. Every day I'm going to show you I deserve to be here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And I'm not saying my sentiment was much different than maybe anybody else's, but yeah, it was really, you know, it was taken seriously, you know?
Yeah. Well, I know you got to go because I know you got food coming.
Yeah, it's a salad. It's not gonna get cold. It's only gonna warm up from here. Hold on. I need to listen. Can I just clean up some of this?
Let's go ahead.
You stay where you're at. Let me just see how quickly I can get like a cluster of these out of the way, man.
All right, go ahead. Which one you want
I'm going back to the. I'm just gonna go back to the tip top, and I'm just gonna see if okay, that person asked that. Good evening. Hello from St. Louis. I'm looking. Hi, purple people.
Have you ever had a chance to hear Morris Day play the drums live?
Not live, but I knew he was a bad dude.
I
saw it on YouTube from some time concert.
Yes, that's what. Same thing.
That's all. Yeah.
Stop since you've asked this a couple times. Do you feel like Prince had perfect pitch?
I know for a fact he did not. If he would try to that's my salmon, I think. Yeah, he would try to tune his own guitar, and it was a nightmare. I'll just be honest.
Really?
Yeah, Sonny would just start yelling for his tech, Archie, you know, or Zeke. He calls for Zeke because we both have perfect pitch, me and Sonny. So listen to him try to find the, you know, the intonation and get, man, that was like, you know, like nails on a chalkboard to me and Sonny.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Especially for Sonny. Sonny is just like, yeah.
And how ironic that somebody so musically in tune would have that kind of impediment or difficulty.
Yeah, man, I've heard him mess up live a few times. I mean, changing lyrics. He even did it on the Prince Piano in a live show there's plenty of bootlegs out of that show, but
Mhm.
he didn't even did it on that one. He messed up a few lyrics on a couple of songs, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
but who cares? It's like,
Yeah,
Okay.
but you know what? And he would and his rationale, he'd say, when I mess up, it's cool. They dig it when I mess up because then it's like, oh, okay, it's look at Prince being folksy. You don't get that privilege.
that's
You
right.
don't get that privilege. You know, we couldn't mess up. We were expected to be, a comfortable piece of furniture for him to relax on at any time and be there. You know,
Yeah.
be intact.
All right, a couple more quick hit ones because I know you're right.
Okay, I was also looking.
Got rid of your sleep paralysis.
I really didn't.
That's right. You said you still experience it every now
I
and
think maybe I haven't had it in quite a while now, but every once in a while when I'm like, if I've been really exerting myself, I can slip into a mode,
then.
and it's just the same feeling. It's like I'm not sure if there's a cure for it. I didn't do a lot of research. Like I was kind of afraid it was something bigger than that. Like not like alien abduction, but like maybe spiritual warfare. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Hard to explain.
yeah. There's people that have those issues where it's just kind of like those standing seizures or what they refer to. I'm not going to say how closely this hits home, because I'm going to put too much of my business out there. But there is a seizure thing called PENS, and it's when your brain just kind of shuts off and you're aware of things that are going on, but everything else, just like you mentioned, is kind of paralyzed, and it's called PENS.
Okay.
Pulse. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll send you the link later.
Oh, yeah, please do. Let me. Oh, Stephanie Meals wanted to know if we would bring the show to Indy. To be honest, we're working on a deal with Live Nation to bring the show to a couple of different cities. Right now, Chicago is on the docket. House of Blues. We just got to figure out the right date. Also, there's talk about going to Louisville. There's talk about going to Atlanta. There's talk about going to Detroit.
Yes.
I don't have any more information about it right now. A lot of things got to fall into place for it to work. But we're trying to get out to you because I realize, through a lot of recent conversation, like it's really, we're the keepers of the flame. Like it's our job now. It's the responsibility is passed down to us. And part of my rationale for doing what I'm doing with Together is, I hate to say this, but I'm often disappointed when I see other people cover Prince's music. It's more often than not, I am disappointed. And some people are making a lot of money, doing it, and that's fine. That's the prerogative. I don't have an issue with that, but I feel like somebody has to bear the standard.
Right.
And
yeah,
I've nominated myself.
and you have the diploma to show for it.
Well, yes. Let's continue with your scholarly terms and whatnot. Yes. So
right.
It's that's what it is. That's part of my reason for doing this, because I know that the band I put together will be better than almost anybody else. The selection of songs will be diverse, and I know there's fans. I knew that there would be fans that would appreciate it. That's why we played like blood on the blood in the sheets, and it's like that's man. I was making a point. Like, listen, I can do any of it, and the people I choose to work with, they can do any of it. We can play old Prince, we can play new Prince, we can play all the Princes, So it's more like a retrospective unit. And I have a bigger plan that I can't get into now with Live Nation, but I'm trying to figure out a way to unify some of these people who are out on the outskirts and on their own islands.
like as far as people who have been musicians, like alumni, musicians who have been, I'm reaching out to certain people, and I'm trying to put something together that nobody's really seen before. I mean, even this show, Tommy Barbarella and Matt Fink have never played together.
Yes, and for those who don't know, this is Eric Rogers had asked any other shows coming up, and of course that's a perfect segue because yes, there is
it's kind of, but this is not that.
Not because Sonny's not there.
Sonny's not going to be there, and maybe he's just talking about in general. It's been a hard thing to stay at, and I feel like Sonny has been. I said this on another podcast somewhat recently. Like he and we haven't been as in close contact as normal, and I fear that maybe he's having some difficulties in his life that he doesn't want to share. I'm not putting that on him. I'm just saying that it's been difficult between everybody. Sonny does a lot of work overseas. So
it's a busy dude.
He's a busy dude, so I can't get him always when I want him. I have a song sitting right now that I wanted to use for the Timberwolves this season. It's called "We Got a Shot," and it's hot, man. It kind of sounds like "Hey Ya" by Outkast.
Outkast, yeah.
But it's not that goofy. It's kind of hardcore. But I can't do anything with it till I can get Sonny on the track. I need him to do some things. So whenever I can get that together, our relationship with High Tension Records is very laid back. So they're not asking for anything. They're not putting any pressure on us. They'd like more product. I just don't have it to give right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're definitely excited about what is actually on the table right now, which is the show for a Together show.
Yeah, that's right. You keep pushing it, bro. Yeah.
That's great. Because Saturday, April 19th, 2025, that is coming out. Keep in mind, it's on the weekend. It is also the weekend of Prince's passing, which is the 21st. So if you want to kind of make a little bit of thing, and there is a dance party after it with DJ Dudley D that's happening in another location, but you can do both at the same night. Big party.
It's after, and it's about 10 minutes away from the venue, he told me. This is a recent development. We've been talking we've texted things over the last couple of days. So,
which is fantastic.
He booked the venue like 2-3 days ago.
So it's a tribute to the music of Prince, and it features all those former members of the original New Power generation. You got Tommy Barbarella, Michael Bland, obviously, Levi Caesar Jr., Dr. Fink with the Revolutions, Odell, and Rick from Mint Condition. You got G Sharp, JB, the Urban Classic Horns. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be at Hopkins, Minnesota, at the Hopkins Center for the Arts, which is around Bloomington, Eden Prairie area, that kind of southwest of Atlanta. Atlanta. Sorry, what are you handing me here? 20.
Do you?
Sorry.
Are you? Do you need to go? Can we squeeze?
No. She was just asking me a quick question. That was all there was to that.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see.
And
I was gonna say, somebody asked, and yes, please come to the show.
Yes, absolutely. Come show. I will be there. I haven't made any plans, and I hadn't even decided until we started talking, and I'm going to be there too. So there's
a couple of people who might show, man. I can't announce, because if it doesn't happen, people are going to be really bummed out. But we have a couple of tricks up our sleeve if they work out correctly.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And we will be pushing this. I'm going to be pushing it hard for you on a regular basis. Now that I waited until we put it out here for the announcement, but starting tonight, this will be out on the Facebook page and all of our socials to make sure that we help you get the word out. And tickets will go on sale on February 11th, and we'll make sure that you guys get the details on that as well. Because even though there's a phone number there for box office, the tickets don't go on sale until February 11th. So
yeah, it's a proper venue, and they got like memberships and people who have access to the tickets before they go to the public. So
yes,
it's one of those situations. They released on sale to the public February 11th. Prince wrote Cherry Cherry, and I'll add that it's a true story. He had to change the names because I sat as Prince and Sonny discussed the song. They discussed the incident, the situation. So they both knew that young woman.
Yes.
Her name was not Cherry. And this is around the time that Chili from TLC was hanging around at Paisley. And that's why her real name is Rosanda. And that's why Prince said Rosanda was her whatever name, but Cherry was her chosen one. I don't know why he decided to do that, but he did it. True story, Cherry Cherry. Like, that's a real deal. Like,
and we've wanted to have, I've talked to you about this, about wanting to do an Exodus show where we kind of go through the album track, but Sonny has to be involved in that.
He has to. Yeah.
He has to be
Also,
involved. So we'll work.
Billy Wells asked, was that what Prince and Levi and Eminem lawsuit? I don't know what lawsuit that was. I wasn't involved. That's all right. Was there any talk about Foley joining the MPG? Not to me. I never heard about anything like that. I know he jammed with Prince, and at some point I think might have even was running sound for Prince. But no, I had never heard anything like that.
Rocco, what do you think of John Blackwell's drumming in terms of soloing?
Oh man, it's soloing was really kind of his thing. I mean, if and I don't want to see, this is the thing about being a truthful person can put you in situations that are uncomfortable. And I gotta say, like, while he could play circles around me, I'm not a soloist, I'm a pocket drummer. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I did all, if Prince wanted it, I gave it to him, but that was not really my deal. You know, I found it in me somewhere when it was called for. But, you know, I think that, I
remember Jeff gave you that nickname, the Pocket Protector.
Yes, that's the Pocket Protector. Yeah. So, I mean, if I were to be objective, I mean, he had way more chops than me, and I think I kept better time. I'm just going to say that. You can hate me now, but that's really how I feel about it.
Yeah,
he and I were friends. I met him when he was playing with Cameo, so we never had any kind of weird feelings about each other.
Yeah, he is a monster.
He probably would even agree if he were with us still. So it is what it is.
I mean, that's the reason why he worked so well on the One Night Alone tour, was because that style of music that he was more conducive to his free spirited way of playing. Just like you're saying, you're, you know, yeah, it's just, yeah, I absolutely see it. Absolutely see it.
I mean, and again, you know, I mean, Prince was multifaceted. Nobody can be everything to anyone, you know? Yeah. So it's like, I understand why he hired him. He was, you know, I mean, he was killing with Cameo. He was killing with Patti LaBelle. I think Prince and Patti fell out because Prince hired John, took John from Patti's band.
Man.
Yeah.
just like he took Mika from Sheila.
Hey, listen, I mean, it's listen, if you don't have it, you know, if the only way to get it is to steal it, then you got to reckon with that, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
My God. That's so
yes, P Control is female empowerment. I thank him for it. Yeah. So is Get Off if you frame it the right way. But the bottom line is Prince knew what he was doing, and Tracy Williams, you know what he was doing too. Okay. I'm not even going to say more on it. That's it. We know there's almost always there's two sides to you know, there's two roads you can take with almost any of Prince's songs. You know,
was Good Dick and a Job about female empowerment?
Depends on the woman. You know, it depends on who you ask. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
I need to let you go eat because I don't want to ruin you, man.
Okay, man,
salmon.
I could use a fasting. Really, come on, man.
All right, here you go. Go.
I'm just looking because I don't want to miss anything that like.
To this, do you remember jamming with Dallas Austin in '95?
Yes, I do. That was eye-opening to everyone, especially Prince, because he wanted to meet Dallas Austin on the merit of his work with TLC. I think Creep had just come out.
Yeah.
And Prince was like, man, on the chorus, all them loops stack up together, man. It's like, wow. Like, it really was powerful to Prince, how, like, what he was doing. And Prince was like, I got to meet this dude. So L.A. Reid and Dallas Austin flew out and came to Paisley, and they were directed to come out to the sound stage. We were rehearsing. They came in, and oh, hey, and Prince was like, don't you play drums? Didn't you play drums in the deal? And LA was like, yeah, but not like that, dude. No, I'm not coming up there to do nothing. And Prince asked Dallas, said, what do you play? He said, I play a little keyboard. I play a little guitar. And he said, go over behind Tommy's, behind Barbarella's rig. And, he told Tommy, let him play the Wurlitzer. And we just started a groove. We were funking. And, Prince was curious about his musical instincts, really. And we watched Dallas show his keyboard skills, and they were very basic.
Yeah.
He's not a keyboard player.
No, he's not.
He's a person who knows how to make magic in the studio. He's a strong songwriter. He's a great producer. He's not a keyboard player. And when we looked up and he was playing the keyboard with like 2 or 3 fingers and kind of Prince looked back at me. Then he looked over at Morris, and Barbarella was already had his head down like, I know, Prince, I know,
Oh my God. Yeah.
He would, it's sometimes he would try to see what was going on with some of these cats. I remember Terrence Trent D'Arby, or rather Sananda Maitreya. It came out and was jamming with us one night. And we started jamming before Prince came in, and he had picked up the guitar and was playing it. And Prince didn't like what he heard. He's like, hey, he said, why don't you go over and play keyboards, man? So he sent him again over in Barbarella's department, Oh, man.
Dallas Austin is doing crypto now. Some
Dallas Austin can do what he wants, because that once young man, he paid his dues and he moved the culture. Nothing but love for him. For me,
it's not a crypto thing as much as it is for music. It's some way that it actually breaks up music licensing and breaks up so that you can actually own pieces of music, kind of similar to what they did with artwork, but in the musical realm. And it's an organization called DAO, if I remember correctly. And I happened to be in Atlanta when he was speaking on it. And it's really interesting. It's basically a way for musicians to be able to protect themselves and also sell off components of their art, as opposed to which is that's a whole thing coming. The whole thing confuses me. But I mean, if you're smart enough to be able to wrap your head around it, cool. Killer Dog said,
yeah. I mean, it's
way above, outside of my pay grade and mind capability.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
this is a good question from Man Ray 10. Which musicians impressed Prince and the NPG? Since we're talking about people that came in and sat in and were like, okay or basic or whatever. Was anybody that came?
Wow,
in?
man. Like, were we blindsided? Like, whoa, they're really good.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
I would imagine that's what the question means.
Okay. I mean, no, not really. Is that arrogant to say?
No, I mean,
I
tinker around at bass and keyboard. I tinker around in bass and keyboards, but if I stepped into a room and Prince asked me if I played anything, I'd be like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's like you don't really know what people can do. I think that but it's no, it's for some reason it's a long list of people who, if you bring them into an environment like that, they can't handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, he's Prince. So
Exactly.
There's all this weird energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he was a master of intimidation for being so, diminutive Like
That's
he really,
exactly what I was going to use. Yeah.
he's really, you know, he had, you know, just he was massive. He
Yeah.
was massive. So you know that messes with people. You know, if you're not used to it, he's just kind of a weirdo. I mean, he, you know that story Morris tells about him like sitting in the corner and just kind of looking at him. You know,
Right.
that's kind of his natural resting state. Like he'll just stop sometimes and just
Observe.
yeah, and you don't know what's going on in his head. He may not say it's just what it was. You know, he just, I mean, you know, he was just a different dude. You're not ready for it. You know how many women I met who were like, you know, I think that Prince and I we have a connection. I mean, if I could just talk to him, if Prince and I could just, you know, trying to get, you know, like past the rope, you know, and almost nine times out of 10, they couldn't handle it. Prince would be like, hello. And then the security's got to get rid of them.
I'm a man, and that's what happened to me the first time I met him.
Think I mean, this is Prince, man.
The first time
these women really thought that they were, you know, it's like, I will prepossess him in my favor. All Prince got to do is meet me. He was his bodyguards will tell you he was the most picky dude of all times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
she's got a lisp. What? She models for Victoria's Secret. I don't care. You know, I don't like her hair. I don't like her. You know, why she got that dress on? So,
yeah.
and I'm just saying, it's like, you know, it's a different energy when we're dealing with that dude, and not everybody could really take it. And so there's that. But I'll say, wow, I'm trying to think. I just got to be one situation where it was like, yeah, wow, they were better than. But I mean, it was like, you know, I can't think of one.
It's such a high bar. I mean, to step into, I mean, everybody, all of you in NPG, in all of them, every musician that he ever had, that he's had on recording, is like the top, is like the echelon, is it's the bar is set. So
and that's why I don't talk trash about any of them.
Yeah,
I mean, people wanted to get me, you know, to say, you know, some disparaging things about like Hannah. I'm like, hey man, listen. What you've got to understand is that nobody, if you're not doing what Prince needs you to do, you're not gonna be there.
Right.
You know? I'm like, whatever she has, if it's not technical prowess or expertise, it's something else. But and I've realized in my own life, I just made this revelation not too long ago. I'm a person who attracts greatness. Now, sometimes that means it's in utero, like maybe a person doesn't know what it's inside them, or they're coming to it. Like I help people reach their potential more often than not. That's what I do. That's my lot in life, is to help musicians get better, to help artists get better. I mean, what other use is there for a drummer with perfect pitch, working with, you know, falling, you know, backwards into a gig, working for one of the most prolific artists of all time?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't think I made note of every single intelligent decision, you know, paid attention to the way Prince arranged things, you know, like I think that's part of also why he liked me, because I had a very sort of analytical mind about music. You know, but I'm saying, just to hang with that dude, you can't be no joke. So you can think whatever you want about how people played. They were, you know, it was a lot of, you know, negative talk about Kirk when he took over. I mean, I liked Kirk's drumming. I met Kirk before any of that. I met Kirk in like 1987, you know, and I was like, man, I really like the way that guy plays drums, you know, like, you know, I'm saying, it's a certain thing, man. But it's not only that, it's your attitude towards the music, how well you can listen and how well you can interpret, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but you've seen a lot of Crash and Burns too. You just mentioned a couple of them. I mean, Lawrence said, I remember George Johnson and Bronzos Johnson sat in, and it was a rough listen. And, and I know the infamous bootlegged concert, and I don't remember the date of it. Was it '94 when Jimmy Jam came on stage? And it was something went haywire. Same thing with Soul Asylum too. Same thing with who came in from Soul Asylum and sat in on that. It was the same show.
What
So
show was it?
there, Jimmy Jam was there, and everybody was coming on the. I guess people were coming on and off the stage, and I can't remember. But he was supposed to do a solo, and anyways, there's like this whole entire concert where it's like there's a bunch of people came on and things just weren't going well, and you know, so that's got to happen, right? I mean, it's just
Listen,
know,
Alan Leeds told me a story about one of the worst shows on the Purple Rain tour. He said, "Man," he said they used to do a thing at the beginning of the show where it was like an optical illusion. Like they had a mannequin dressed like Prince, like in one position, and the lights would swing onto that mannequin, and people would think they saw Prince for a minute, and then the lights would go out, and then they do the same thing on the other side of the stage, like, you know, like there's another man. It's like, where is he? Is that Prince? You know, like the illusion that he was just bouncing around, you know, in space or something. You know,
right. I've never seen those clips.
Okay, he said
I saw 3 of the 5 shows in Atlanta, and I don't remember, but yeah.
He said, Alan Leeds said one night everything went wrong. Like the lights shifted to the other mannequin, and the arm fell off, like right as the lights hit it. He said he told me some other things, but he said to top it all off, Prince went to get like the Purple Rain telly, the Telecaster that shot out the
Right.
And he said it's supposed to spit out in this perfect stream. He said it just dribbled out. Like,
yeah. I think it was Eric Leeds that told that story.
Oh, well, no one. Yeah, I would guess that he would know it. You know,
What was
his
it?
brother told it to me. So
Maybe it was Brian. See, one of them came on the story, and they remember. Or maybe it was Gilbert Davison. I think it was somebody was around in that thing, and they remember being Prince chastising whoever the I guess the person that's responsible for the that working, and just chastise him for like 2 hours straight.
yeah, no, and Alan said he was ready for Prince to chew him out, and he went backstage. He went to the dressing room after the show, and because Prince wanted to see him, and he was like, okay, he braced for it, and Prince pulled him into Prince opened the door. And he shut the door and he said, just tell me this will never happen again. That was it.
Yeah.
And Alan's like, you got it.
It was probably Alan that told me the story, probably.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah, but it's just, man, there's just so many great stories and stories that people have never heard. And I think that's why people are just, starving for those little tidbits and stuff that artists like you can bring in, that we might be able to, find some stories. But man, I'm just glad you remember them all. You have a pretty good memory for most of this stuff. So
yeah, I'm trying to get it all out while I got it. Cause it's we don't know. We don't know what can happen. We die at the end of this, man. I'm telling it all.
I'm going to title this, "We Die at the End of This."
Yeah. We die at the end of all this. Right. Yeah, I think that's what they said.
Oh my God.
Whoa. People were really making a lot of comments. Some people gave me some support about sleep paralysis here. And wow, I saw Audrey mention something about the drumming on Colonized Mind. Thank you, dear. I'm just doing what God made me to do.
That's right.
That's
right.
it. Wow. Somebody asking for us to come to London. Hope you consider doing it again in June. Yeah. Why? Oh, why? Is the estate talking about anything in June yet?
Oh, well, I mean, the first week of June. Yeah. June 5th through 9th has already been locked. But nothing has been decided as to what, as far as we know, there's been no announcements. Everybody that I'm talking to has said, We've never been contacted. Like the people that I would think is going to fit into this Purple Rain 2.0.
All
I
of
think-
that.
Most of them are like, I asked Jesse. Jesse said he's never been contacted. You know, but these people have been contacted. Nobody's been contacted about anything. Jerome
all right.
contacted. So I was like, all right. Well, we don't know what they're planning or what they're doing, but
That's okay. That's
something
fine. I didn't know, and I'm, I mean, I certainly, I don't really know what's happening for me in June yet. So, who knows? I mean, we may actually take that time to go elsewhere and play. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could certainly do something during. I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing things during the celebration. I know there will be a lot of events that are going to be happening alongside the celebration, unlike parallel type of universes in that area, in the Minneapolis area, in and around those types of things. So obviously, I do know a lot of things that have not been announced yet. So feel free to contact me.
I know that. That's why I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you.
No. Just I'll make sure that if you're planning something, just let me know and I'll tell you if something's going on. And there's people that know things that I don't know. So, but it would be nice for them to eventually make an announcement and us kind of give a little bit of an idea of what types of things that they are planning. It just seems it's very broad stroked right now. So I'm interested, but we'll see what happens.
Somebody asked, how often did Prince mess up live and admit it? Yeah, no, he was very open about like mistakes, but he was also, I mean, he was almost a flawless performer. He could hide so well, like he really, or if he made, he was also of the school, like, if you make a mistake, then do it twice. It's not a mistake.
That's right.
I watched him lean over the organ at the B3 at the fine line to tell his bodyguard something. And I wasn't playing. Sheila was drumming, and it was at the Fine Line Music Cafe, a place downtown here. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Mambo's Combo was playing, and Prince and Sheila sat in. So I got up, I let Sheila get on the drums, and Prince went over to play keyboards. And I was on his side of the stage, standing on the floor. And he motioned to his bodyguard to come here. And when he leaned over, his necklace hit a key. It struck a key on the keyboard. And
how heavy does your necklace have to be to press the key?
I'm not sure. I mean, Hammond organ keys are very light.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but still, it's got to have some weight to it.
Well, it was the necklace with like the symbol.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. Then that would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it pushed enough weight to make a sound.
Sure.
But the funny thing was, Prince was talking to the dude. He never stopped talking to him, but when he came back away from the dude, he looked at the keyboard, he found that note and did something with it and then just kept playing. That's what he never missed an opportunity to make music. That's really what I loved about him, was he wanted so much for the thing that we all, really appreciate in this business. Is there's a camaraderie, there's a sharing of ideas, there's a competitive aspect, but there's also an admiration aspect. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel I was recording with George Benson in Studio B at Paisley. And I was behind the drums out in the out in the performance area. I see Prince walk through the airlock with his Gibson signature model, Ibanez, to get it signed by George Benson. And George Benson is signing the back of the guitar. And Prince happens to look up and sees me behind the drums in the studio. And he just ice grilled me, man. Just like, what are you doing recording with George Benson? Like he didn't know about it. I'm like, I know how did you not know? It's your building. You don't know what's going on here. You knew we had these days off. He looked like visibly upset, maybe he wasn't, I don't know, but it looked like he kind of ice grilled me, like he was upset about it. And I thought about that a lot. And I finally realized, like, you know what, when you're Prince, you can't just hang out. You can't just like
Ricky Peterson's mom was hanging out in the studio with us that day. Tommy LaPuma was the producer of that record. You know, it's like there were people hanging out, but Prince was not comfortable with the idea of just, you know, it's like he's a superstar. He's a polarizing figure. He can't just hang out casually in the studio, even though that might have been what he really wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he might have even wanted to, you know, like, hey, let me play rhythm on something. But you know what I mean? It's like he didn't have the free exchange because of because of his success. I think that's one of the trappings that he couldn't just be like me and Sonny. Me and Sonny would sit in all over the place, you know? I mean, just jump up on somebody else's gear and get going, you know, and we wouldn't think twice about it, you know?
But it is funny. It is funny that you're playing on the album and he's a fanboy getting an autograph. That is funny.
Well, yes. How about that? So he probably envied me a little bit. Yeah, I was doing something he probably wished he could be doing. And it's like, what's that look like? Prince just hanging out? I mean, in full, you know, hair perfect, makeup perfect, you know, full on regalia. You can't just be anywhere when you look like that and you're kind of socially awkward, you know?
Yeah.
So he looked, you know, and he thanked Benson and he rolled out. He never said anything about it. But, you know, it's like, yeah, you can't, if you're Prince, you can't really do that, man.
No.
You know? So he missed out on a lot, I think.
Well, I was going to ask what album was this, but it was just an album or songs. What songs did you record with George Benson?
Oh, it was an album called That's Right.
You played on the whole album?
Except for there was one that I think Arif Martin's son, Joe Martin, wrote a song and they decided to use the programming, like just like electronic. The drums were programmed on that one. Everything else that was live, everything else with real drums, I was the only drummer on the record.
It's so symbiotic because I still have this stack of albums that I hadn't finished going through, and I had George.
Whoa! Wait a minute! While the City Sleeps?
Yeah, I have While the City Sleeps. It was marked up, and it was the vinyl is fine, but because it was marked up, they sold it for $1, and I was like, "Are you kidding? This is a friggin' amazing album,
dude." Yeah, and meanwhile, I forgot to mention the most amazing thing was just George Benson. Man, every day it was like he was speaking a different language with his instrument. Like he would be working on like different, you know, harmonic concepts daily. You'd hear him sort of circling the drain of a very complex harmonic idea, and all of his solos were like that day. The next day it was something else. I mean, it was really astounding, man. I'd never seen anything like it. It was crazy, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so fun, so much great, so much great stuff, so many great stories.
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing much. I don't think we missed much, man. I'm looking.
Yeah, I know you've been killing it.
I just don't. I want the people to have some satisfaction, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. They got. I mean,
but also let them. You can also get at me at. You know, I mean, I'm on Facebook. It's me and my wife. She's bald, and so am I in the shot. So just come and say whatever you need to say.
Yeah. Did you ever go places in disguise on tour with him?
No, I did not.
You didn't wear the big bucket hat. You just did.
Well, the bucket hat was my disguise, but it made me more famous than ever. I might bring it back for this gig on the 19th. I've got one or two in my closet. I might rock one just to take y'all all the way back. I don't know yet. It's something I've been thinking about.
Dave says satisfied. That's gonna be a good rap. We've been doing this for over 3 hours, man. This has been amazing.
Yeah, okay. We can put a pin in it, man. I really don't.
One more time, get ready. Put it on your calendar. Put February 11th on your calendar. I'll give you a second reason to do that also, but put February 11th on your calendar because there is tickets that will be going on sale for this event right here together Saturday, April 19th at the Hopkins Center for the Arts in Hopkins, Minnesota with Tommy Barbarella, Michael Bland, Levi, Dr. Fink, Homer and Rick from Mint Condition, G Sharp, JB. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ash Smash.
Be fun.
Everybody, it's going. Yeah, you know, it's we'll be. I mean, I think it's now that we've had the experience mostly together, this we're gonna it's gonna be a better show. It's gonna be a better show. I think it's a better venue. I think, and you know, it's God bless him. I mean, if Sonny ends up actually available, I might try to get him to come play a couple. You know, if he's around, if he's in town, I might try to get him to make an appearance.
That'd be great.
But you know, the other people that I'm talking to about making an appearance, y'all gonna lose it. If either of them shows up, you're gonna lose. You're gonna you know
lose your ever loving mind.
That's it. Yep. It's really gonna mess y'all up.
Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one, the only Michael Bland.
Yeah. Peace, man. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right, brother. We will talk soon, and
Okay.
we'll definitely be bringing this up on February 11th, and we'll wrap into that.
All right, man. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your support too, Chris. Man, that's thank you for doing this for us, man.
All the time, every time. My resources, your resources.
All right. Fantastic.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Bland.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good night. Now, keep in mind, one of the things I was telling you about is that the I know we've gone over it. My apologies. I hope you guys have had a good time, but this, you know, we had good storytellers in here, and Michael has always been good to Funkatopia, and I will always support anything that he does because he's just, you know, such an amazing dude. And this show on April 19th is going to be a lot of fun over in Hopkins, Minnesota. Yes, I will plan on coming. I'm going to try to make all travel plans and whatnot, and I will be coming out there. And I'll remember now. Here's something to remind. Here's something to remind you. I've already said it multiple times. I've said it tonight, and I'll say it one more time. That February 11th, 1985 is the 40th anniversary of this album right here, Jesse Johnson's Review. It's the 40th anniversary of this masterpiece. Can you help me? Be your man. I mean, come on. This whole album is I Want My Girl. I mean, just come on. This is a legendary album. And February 11th, 1985 is when this album was released. And February 11th, 2025, which is 2 Tuesdays from right now, is the official 40th anniversary of that show. And if you've missed it the first couple of times I mentioned it, I'll say it once again, right here on Funkatopia. The one, the only, Jesse Johnson is going to be here at Funkatopia Live. We are going to be going through the Jesse Johnson's Review album track by track. It's the 40th anniversary celebration of that album, and Jesse Johnson will be here on Funkatopia Live to probably take your questions and tell tons of stories. So I can tell you, since this is going to be Jesse's second time on the show, he loves to tell stories, and I'm going to have to go back into my previous script that I had because I had a bunch of questions that I never got an opportunity to ask him, and specifically about this album. I'm going to have to break them out and get ready, and it's going to be an amazing show. So 2 Tuesdays from now, not February 4th, but February 11th, Jesse Johnson is going to be here for the 40th anniversary of Jesse Johnson's Review, and we'll be doing a show with him, just like we did tonight with Michael Bland, but it's going to be Jesse Johnson. He doesn't like to do camera work, so we're going to try to figure out at least put up a picture of him or something. For some reason, last time he was on the show, it wouldn't let me make a change to his profile pic. I don't know what. I looked on their help section and it said that I could, but that option was just not available to me, so I don't know what's going on. Anyways, Jesse Johnson will be here 2 Tuesdays from right now, on February 11th. Is there going to be a show on February 4th? As it stands right now, no, but there are 2 or 3 guests that I have been reaching out to and speaking with and having dialogues with that may actually be here on February 4th. I won't tell you who they are, but there's going to be some pretty cool guests. And if one of those happens, then we will have a show next Tuesday. If not, go ahead and get ready for Jesse Johnson on February 11th, right here on Funkatopia Live, going through Jesse Johnson's review. Once again, I want to make sure that you get your travel plans ready. I want to kind of answer a couple more questions about that, because if you were here for Michael Bland, you got to see this event that they're doing in Hopkins, Minnesota, called Together. It's going to be Tommy Barbarella, Michael Bland, Levi. I think it's going to be a big, really cool event. And a lot of people were asking me questions about, this. Tickets do not go on sale until February 11th. I will remind you about those tickets the day of that show. The day of the Jesse Johnson show. Before we do the show, I'll make sure that you guys remember, get your tickets because they're available. The other thing is, people were asking me where to stay. Hopkins, Minnesota is kind of to the west of Bloomington. Well, if you're looking at a map, I'm trying to do this mirrored, but if you're looking at a map, you have Minneapolis is up here, then you have Bloomington down here, and then you have Eden Prairie over here. And right here in a triangular type of way, you can stay at Eden Prairie or you can stay in Bloomington. It's probably about a 10, 15-minute drive right up to Hopkins. There may be hotels in Hopkins. I don't know. Normally, when I do hotels, I normally do hotels in Bloomington because A, it's close to the Mall of America, which is always a cool stop to make. And B, it's very, very convenient to get to and from the airport from Bloomington. Eden Prairie is just as convenient as well. So that doesn't only apply to this event on April 19th, but it also applies to the celebration event. If you're planning on going to the celebration or planning to be in the week of June, the first week of June, for the celebration week, whether you go to Paisley Park or you don't, whatever, there's going to be tons of events going on regardless of what you decide to do. But anytime that you go there, Bloomington is a pretty good bet because the room prices are a lot less money than they are if you stay in downtown Minneapolis. And in a lot of cases, like Minneapolis, places like Minneapolis hotels like the Moxie, a place like that, they don't have parking. They have parking that is like 2 blocks away from the hotel, or you have to pay every time you get it. It's just too much of a pain. Stay in Bloomington or Eden Prairie, especially if you're going to this Together event on April 19th. And of course, I always stay in Bloomington. It just makes the most sense. Yes, it's a little bit of a drive here or there, but it's just so much less hectic and a lot safer area. So that's that. That's all that I'll say as far as that's concerned. We'll talk more about that on February 11th. But for right now, I am going to let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for, I guess I got to put this on to read. So much for, yes, Christina says Hopkins is also near Edina and St. Louis Park too. All of them is just kind of, yeah. Yes, Lisa, I'm working on it. I'm still working on it. She's asking about Wendy and Lisa. And Revolution 86 asks, what happened to the album Jesse was supposed to come out with? It's still in the works. It is in its final stages right now. I will tell you that. I'm sure he will probably speak to it a little bit more on next Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, the 4th, but the 11th. I'm sure he'll speak a little bit more to it, but it's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing thing. It's going to be, I think it's like 3 CDs. I think is what it is. It's like ridiculous. But anyways, hope you guys will tune in 2 Tuesdays from now, February 11th for Jesse Johnson. And thank you once again to Michael Bland. Go ahead and make your travel arrangements now and figure out what you're going to do as far as getting out there to Minneapolis and hanging. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will definitely going to be working to get out there myself. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a really, really good time. And I hope you guys had a good time tonight. Man, we did a lot. Over 3 hours. Oh, actually, it's getting close to 3.5 hours right now because we started a little early. So hope you guys had a good time. We will talk to you later. I'm Mr. Christopher. This is Funkatopia Live. WTF. Welcome to Funkatopia. I hope you're having a good time. We will see you soon. Maybe next week. Who knows? You know how it is. Good night, all. Love you.